In a world of remakes and remasters,
Are we playing for
what was once sacred and cool has now soured and become lame.
Red?
Gone are the days of Hans and Cowabunga. Now is the reign of slurp juice and dabs. Kids these days don't even know how bad they've got it. Now it's up to the best generation to rise to the occasion and make a show that dares to go where a lot of other nerdy shows have already gone quite a bit. That's right. They're going to talk about it a lot. Hello and welcome to the show, everyone. This is Best Gen, the show where nerds complain about nerdy things. It's called Best Gen because we happen to all mostly roughly be from the same gen, and we think that it's the best, not because we as people are better than you, but because our entertainment was. So, strap in, grab yourself a nice steaming hot cup of chocolate and listen to the sweet sounds of us complaining and waxing nostalgic about the past. There is so much to talk about today, guys. Shout out to our live viewers right now, Mark Clark, our channel member. If you guys want to become a channel member, and so Mark Clark has some friends. It only costs $1 a month, and you get access to these wonderful emojis, and also a store-wide discount on all my merch, which I'm not wearing today, but I have my hat. I got my hat ready. If you want a cool beanie that's embroidered and crap, it's freaking sweet. So shout out to Mark Clark, our amazing dedicated channel member, and shout out to the Underground in the chat. I was just on their show for the live stream on Monday, and then the episode was released yesterday. We talked about The Last of Us 3, and we're going to do the same thing tonight. Hopefully, we'll get them to come onto this show soon. We'll have to plan it thoroughly, though, because they live on the East Coast, and we'd have to change the show time. We'd have to move it up to earlier in the day if they want to participate.
They don't want to jump in at 9 o'clock at night?
They have jobs, and they're like 2 hours ahead of us. So,
that's right, 2 ahead. I'm West Coast, so I'm like 3 hours. Oh, but yeah.
Oh yeah. It's even later for you.
Yeah.
Or no, it's earlier.
It's earlier for you.
It's easier for you. Stop complaining.
Oh yeah, that was my point.
We're joined by my brother David. He's got his own channel. Just released did your video go out yesterday? You big one?
Yeah. Well, I think technically it was this morning, but I started the upload last night. Yeah.
Channel's called Shelf Help Gaming. They do like board games and crap. It's fun. And we're joined by Bearded, who's regained his honor with his facial hair, and the Angry Mexa, who's got his own channel as well. And if you're not subscribed, you're stupid. I don't know what you're doing with your life. So there's so much to talk about, guys. There's a lot of news. We had the DC announcement, which everyone's discussing, and oh boy. We got Vox Machina, 3 more episodes. There's only 3 left of season 2. That'll be next week. Is the finale of Vox Machina, and then we've got The Last of Us to discuss. And if you didn't like it, you're a racist bigot. So What up, all my bigots? Thanks for joining us tonight.
I like to just
Oh
fun.
my! I mean,
I don't have the games to base off of, and yeah, we'll get into it.
I don't even know if that's even in the game. I think it's not.
No, it's not.
I heard that
Mark Clark
they
says
are.
Mark Clark
Yeah.
says he didn't mind it, but he also hasn't watched the first 2 episodes because he's crazy.
Yeah. Classic Mark Clark watching things out of
reading
order.
things out of order, and reading 1,
Yeah.
3, 2. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I
He's just a
didn't-
massive troll.
Mm-hmm.
Had a big issue with it, but the issues that I have, they're going to say, "Oh, you're a bigot just because you dislike the episode."
Any criticism
Right.
is bigotry. So,
Yeah. Do we want to get into it?
do we want to get into it? Let's talk about DC first. I feel like that's more relevant.
Let's do that.
We're a week behind because we scheduled the show a long time ago, and it happens. Turns out we're a week behind talking about The Last of Us every week. So,
Yeah.
oh well. Yeah, let's talk about DC. Yeah, you guys all watched that announcement, right?
I watched your video actually. That's a good video.
Yeah, I didn't see the announcement until I saw your video.
I've
And
been
I
a
was
little
like,
bit
oh,
out of
then
it,
I
so
went
didn't
back
see it
and
until I
watched
saw
the
yours.
original.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen much of the discussion around it, so I mean, I'm coming at this just with my own thoughts.
What are your thoughts? I'm upset.
I mean, I guess I've got a little bit of your thoughts mixed in there, but overall, it really is like these are weird choices. I mean, he's somebody who's known for going for weird stuff. Like
they are very like on brand for
James Gunn.
James Gunn. The problem is that good for launching a universe?
Yeah, for launching the universe, I think that's where the real issue comes in, because again, he came in and did Guardians of the Galaxy and rocked it, and people who had no idea who Guardians of the Galaxy were,
they are
loving it. It was awesome,
and they're arguably some of the best entries in the MCU. Like, I really, really like James Gunn's work.
Mm-hmm. But this seems like a weird thing. And then ultimately, the biggest thing to me, and I still haven't heard a lot of any breakdowns about what else is going on with this, but it looks like you were right about it's a soft reboot. It's not a hard reboot. So what the heck are you doing keeping only the ones from your properties and not Superman or any of the rest of these things?
That's not even my issue, too. My issue is he made an announcement of things to come, and he didn't explain the game plan. He just rattled off a list of titles, and it's like, okay, we all know you're doing this reboot, whether it's soft or hard or whatever, or saggy and to the left. I don't care. But
bad timing.
Sorry.
Did you say saggy or soggy?
Soggy and to the left. So
I heard saggy.
My whatever, it doesn't matter. Yeah, so my issue is that they still have the Flash movie and the Shazam sequel coming out, and he didn't explain.
Too.
Oh yeah, and Aquaman 2. He didn't explain where that fits in. Are they still canon, but before the reboot?
The weird part is
they can easily, and the same thing with Suicide Squad. Like they can easily say, okay, Flash is going to be a reboot, and these movies, these select few movies that we've already made, are actually happening after the reboot, and that's fine. That's fine, but it's just it's really confusing. And nobody knows where it sits.
He did at least address the fact that they're coming, but then didn't really go into like how that all fits together. And
right.
Well, he did.
Say,
he
in
said,
the timeline, the Shazam movies, both 1 and 2, because they don't really connect with the regular MCU other than Superman showing up and just seeing his chest at the very end credit scene in the first one.
Exactly.
It can easily be still part of the revamped canon. And he could have addressed that. He said, oh, by the way,
he did
this movie and this movie that we've already made, they actually happen past this timeline in the thing. So they're still official canon. Or it was just really confusing.
Yeah. He kind of addressed it, but again, it was confusing because he contradicted himself constantly in the video. He said the Flash is already connected because it was never connected to the old regime. He said it was already kind of off in his own universe, and then he ends it with saying, so it's already connected to our new thing. And then the second thing he says is, and then we're going to take the Flash and reset everything. So how is it connected to what to
Yeah.
look?
Well,
It would
so
the
it's
best thing like
supposed-
the weirdest choice ever is that they're using the Flash to reset the universe, but it comes before two other movies that
Mhm.
aren't part of the reset. Just
Right.
just delay the Flash. It's already been delayed
so
a
freaking much.
bunch.
And the
Just
word
have it come out as the last of the 4 lame duck movies, and that is the problem. He has to still get people to watch these movies, even though none of them are going to be part of his new vision, right? Like he can't just say these don't count, even if that's really his plan to just toss all 4 of them out. He can't say that because then no one's going to go watch them, and then he's going to get fired.
The big thing with the Flash though is that it's been delayed so much, and the longer you delay it, the more chances that Ezra has to go and do something else to make it somehow even worse for that movie, because like they're
That's
all
true.
over the freaking place.
If they delay it more, Ezra Miller might do something again.
And honestly, it sounds like they've been quiet for a long time because I think they've got them like locked down and saying, just stop.
They have him locked inside a rehab center inside of a rehab center. It's like Inception, but
there's still the fact that there's going to be a court case, and so like the results of that court case might come out and could again dismantle.
That's true.
So it's like
that's true.
It's so freaking much.
It's a no-win situation. You're right.
So they also it does actually kind of make sense because it's supposed to be Flashpoint, so it makes sense that could be used to reset the universe.
Exactly.
But to your point, like you got to get these other ones out, and then what do you do with them? Because I don't know, and that is the one thing for a lot of his properties. Even though I think it's stupid from an optics point of view at the very least to say everything else is clean slated, including Henry Cavill that a lot of people liked, whether or not they liked the movie. But we're going to keep my stuff because
it was a lie. It was a lie.
Yeah.
And my guess is they're getting rid of everything. He just can't announce it yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But even then, but even then, he's still keeping
about the Waller thing.
He's still keeping his Suicide Squad. So it's a contradiction. They are going to get they are definitely going to get rid of Aquaman and the Flash and Wonder Woman and Superman and Batman. None of those are going to carry over. The only thing that carries over are his Suicide Squad and Peacemaker.
And what I was trying to get at is that one, as much as I think it's terrible
a lie.
from an optic standpoint, they are a little bit extra separate. They're kind of like you were saying with Shazam, David, that Shazam, like it's so disconnected, you only ever see, Superman chest down. So you could say that it is somehow after the reset or inside the new reset if you wanted.
As long as you keep Zachary Levi too. So if they've already sacked Zachary Levi.
Yeah, but he came out as a right-wing lunatic.
Oh, did he?
Oh, yeah.
Saying that he's all good. Like he's the way that it was phrased was not 100%. I didn't think it was 100%. No, I'm still in the universe. I'm not upset. But it sounds like maybe he is still in the universe. And then the other reason that we know that they're going to toss out Aquaman is because of the things we've been hearing coming out of Jason Momoa talking about how he's really, really excited, and that excitement doesn't seem like you get to keep being Aquaman excitement. That sounds like he gets to be Lobo in the new version stuff.
He's gone. Aquaman's gone.
Well, that's the thing. I don't even think they're gone. It's just he's not going to be Aquaman anymore. He'd be someone else.
Again, I wouldn't have a problem with it if they weren't lying, and it is proven that they are lying. They said we got to fire Cavill. We can't keep him on because we need a clean slate, and that was a lie. They are not doing a clean slate.
Or they're lying now, and they are doing a clean slate.
No, they are keeping his Suicide Squad. That's not a clean slate.
And
I don't even mind. I don't mind.
Yeah,
I don't mind that they keep those characters. Just don't lie to us.
Yeah,
they're keeping the Flash.
There was rumors that they might, and if they keep Ezra on as the Flash after this movie, no, I'm sorry, I'm
out. Yeah.
This came out after the announcement. Peter Safran came out and said they are in discussion for keeping out Ezra Miller.
Are you freaking
which was the
kidding me?
Stupidest thing they could have said.
And that's the thing. I get it. Recovery. I'm a strong believer in recovery and like repentance and becoming able to overcome. But you need to actually finish suffering the consequences first.
Yes.
So and
he needs to actually see jail time.
He needs to see jail time. You can even argue that between the time that they stopped doing whatever the weird stuff that they've always been involved with until now, or until the time the movie comes out, maybe there's some time that he's been able to recover and whatever. But us as an audience, us as like viewers, all we're thinking about and hearing about is they were in trouble, and then they got their movie to come out, and then they keep being the Flash, and
if this was literally if this was any regular person who hadn't had so many intimate connections with high up Hollywood producers, he would have been in jail years ago.
Well, you look at there was a
he
great
did the first thing
around the same time that their first issues like popped out. I think when they were slamming somebody on the ground in Croatia or wherever it was.
Hawaii.
No, this was before that. Before Hawaii.
Yeah. Oh my
God! It also happened in
it also happened before Hawaii, but around that same time, one of the actors on the TV show of The Flash had old tweets come up that suddenly looked terrible, and
that's not even comparable to what Ezra Miller has done.
That's my point.
I don't give a crap about old tweets.
That's my point.
Yeah,
old tweets got him canned immediately. And Ezra's
it wasn't the Flash. You're talking about one of the supporting characters in the Flash.
Yeah,
yes, he got fired from the show for old tweets, and then like a month later, Ezra
that's the whole point.
Attacked a woman in a bar, and he still has a job.
That is the most frustrating thing. If you choose to fire him for old tweets, not necessarily where I go with that, but fine. I get maybe why you would want to do that. But in that case, you have to take what Ezra is doing and fire them immediately too. Because what Ezra is doing is much worse than any old tweets.
And compare it to something a little more recent too with JD and AH trial, right? Those were just allegations of bad behavior, and they just put him through the ringer.
Yep.
This is verified stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to talk about old tweets,
happened.
Talk about the old tweets. Remember when James Gunn supposedly was fired from Marvel from those tweets about children, which those tweets were a little bit dark,
They
were in very poor taste. Yes.
Yeah. But James Gunn came out and apologized for those, which made his firing. Again, it was more like these other examples. Everybody except for Ezra is being fired for anything like this.
But we know why. We know why Ezra is protected. He's non-binary, and he knows a lot of Hollywood intimately. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, if he goes to jail, I bet that he's not going to spend even a month without transitioning to get a better deal in a female jail. I mean, if not, he's going to become a fellow male's girlfriend in a male jail.
Putting Ezra Miller aside, another bizarre move that they've made is, again, after the release, they talked about this came out. We know that the Batgirl was unreleasable, but they're still in talks with the director and want to work with her in the future.
Mm-hmm.
What are they doing?
Yeah,
rehashing all stuff, trying to probably play the blame on maybe James Gunn hates DC. Maybe he just wants to watch it burn.
In case you're wondering what it is, Ezra Miller knows all about Harvey Weinstein's pens.
Yes. Oh, of course. Yes.
Release the Batgirl cut. I really want to see the Batgirl. If I'm being 100% honest, I would love to see this movie.
Yeah.
So everyone.
They should release it. No theatrical run. Just put it online and say, "Hey, this is a crap show. We know it's bad. Enjoy."
But you want to see it? They
there, bro.
They could make money from this.
They would definitely make money.
Like you release the Snyder cut. The biggest problem is that once they release the Snyder cut, is a bunch of people were like, "Okay, give us all of it back. We want it." I think that they've been burned with that. But I think that still is the right choice to make.
I would still like to see the air cut of Suicide Squad 1.
Yeah. So the other thing I want to point out is actually the Batgirl director. It was actually two directors, and I believe that they had worked with they had done. I don't remember if it was Miss Marvel or if it was Moon Knight, but they had worked on some Marvel properties that were well liked and well done. So like to me that lends to the idea that even though they felt like this movie was unreleasable, they have reasons for saying we're still willing to work with these directors because they at least have a track record of something good that at least they thought was good.
I would get a Peacock membership to watch Bad Girl. Trust me.
Peacock is free. You don't
Yeah,
need a
it's-
membership.
Oh, for real?
It's free.
It's free,
Remember, that's
yeah.
one of the
They
multiple
just have
tiers
ads. That's why.
where you can watch like the first 4 or 5 seasons of The Office for free, but then like the last season or 2, you can't watch unless you have the membership.
That's
I
how
mean-
that's how I watched Nope. It was on Peacock.
I actually
I
do
don't
like
care.
that
I
model
would
a lot
put it
better
in
Pay
the-
than
for it.
you
I
have
put
to
it in the
pay no matter what.
thumbnail. I don't think anyone else has watched it, just me. But I just wanted to talk about it
Nope.
very briefly tonight.
Nope, I
Nope.
watched Nope.
Nope.
But
Nothing
okay,
goes back.
it's not all bad news because, like you said, Zachary Levi made a tweet that really isn't very controversial at all, but it happens to align with some of the right wing's beliefs, and James Gunn defended him. So I'm so torn. Like, I really like a lot of what James Gunn has done, and I like a lot of what he's doing. I just don't understand the lies, right? So he stood up. He stood up for Zachary Levi because he's been in the same boat. Like, guys, just
Mhm.
because you have a different opinion doesn't mean you have to blacklist someone.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah, he made
I
a
think
tweet.
that there
He
are-
made a tweet criticizing Pfizer. That's it.
Yeah.
Oh, how dare he?
He looks too young in that photo. I mean, he's
Yeah, this is
way.
an old photo.
Yeah,
it's
this
all
is-
white now.
Yeah, because I remember seeing pictures of him with just the colored hair, but then
He didn't even
suddenly
tweet.
it's all white.
It was
So,
a
yeah,
retweet,
he did
right?
He was a reply. Yeah, I had retweet. Like well, it's not as bad as saying the joke, like coming out with the joke that he did, and it's probably just him covering his own,
Yeah.
tail, because he's probably knows that there's things that could get him canceled if someone is really using the Wayback Machine and goes down to some tweets on 2012. But yeah, I mean, it's good. It's good because he knows that he what else can he do to Zachary Levi? He's losing his franchise, even though he's one of the most successful actors from the actual DCEU. So
Yeah, his film was more successful or was almost as successful as the Black Adam film,
mhm.
which has the arguably larger star power of The Rock behind it, and yet Zachary Levi's film did
Yeah.
almost as well. or
The
something.
Rock got me into Fortnite, bro. And
Nice.
Okay. So if we look at the actual breakdown, though, I think there are a lot of good ideas in what they announced. Sorry, I just
let me
got-
check. Let me check the. I had it over here. No, I perhaps Superman Legacy and the Green Lantern movie.
The Green Lantern project is probably the coolest thing they announced.
Mhm.
Like, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Space Police sounds awesome. And they were using the original Green Lantern too, and but they're
Green
using
Lantern
both.
really needs a good adaptation.
It does. That could be cool. Like, there
still
are
have
some
fun
good
with that.
ideas. Like, I don't think his
Sure.
Creature Commandos looks bad. It's just a weird. Like, that was the first thing. Like, oh, we're so excited to
Yeah.
release Creature Commandos. It's gonna like
And everybody's like, "What is
So-
this?"
Does they break
Warner
down
Brothers
who's in
just makes
Creature
no
Commandos?
sense to me. What?
Do they break down who's in Creature Commandos?
It's another Suicide Squad. In fact,
Yeah.
there is one of the characters from James Gunn's Suicide Squad in Creature Commandos, but it's a prequel.
The
they're
Creature.
fighting Nazis. Yeah, the
Oh,
Creature.
come on!
'Cause I do see what looks like Robot, which might be from the what was the TV show that they just canceled?
The Doom Patrol is
Doom Patrol.
There's a carryover from
Hmm.
there as well.
Yeah. So, but again, they canceled that one. So, are they going to carry over that actor or not?
I guarantee you, this one was already in production. This was just another one of the things he was doing, and so it's the one that's ready. But still, even if that's the case, like, don't make that your tentpole. Delay it because
it's
it makes no sense.
the
DC
only one that
DC
makes sense
should
is
be-
like, Yeah. Go ahead.
DC should be
Miss Panda.
miles
That
ahead
is
of
here.
Marvel. They have Superman and Batman, the two greatest IPs of all time.
Yeah.
Literally the only Marvel character that even holds a water in the cult that even that even holds a candle to Batman and Superman in the cultural zeitgeist is Spider-Man, and they don't even own him. Sony does. Okay,
Yeah.
what Marvel has managed to do with their side characters is incredible. Okay,
Mhm.
and DC is still just pissing their pants, just running around in circles doing nothing.
Yeah. How is this
And the
like?
fact that,
Go ahead.
that James Gunn still can't see that the two most important characters are Superman and Batman, that's what you need to be leading with.
He's
Not
giving
Creature
lip
Command,
service to it.
Booster Gold, not all of these side projects. I know you're really passionate about. I know you like them, and I promise you would be able to get to them eventually. But make a Superman movie, make a Batman movie, get people excited about DC again, and then do the funny stuff that you want to do.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I see your point and I understand and I agree with you. However, coming from the standpoint of they already had a Batman and a Superman
And it's
and
Elseworlds.
and they just fired all those directors, do you think coming out with a Superman and a Batman film right now would be a good idea? Because people are still sore from their firing Henry
If
Cavill.
it was good, yes.
I think
Yeah.
If they really wanted to do a clean slate, yes, I would be okay with. I would be okay with letting Henry Cavill go if they were just if they were telling the truth and saying yes, we just need it. We need to start fresh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
A-
I would
and-
say it's so easy. It's so easy. Why
Well, and
can't
that's
he
the
make
thing.
the right decision?
Because
Just
I remember the Spider-Man is a relatively good comparison because, like you said, it's the next closest like zeitgeist one. When we had Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, and then we got Andrew Garfield's, and then we had to reboot again to get it. Like I remember people being like, "Really, we're rebooting this quickly? We just had another one come out not that long
and
ago."
it worked. And it
But I
worked
think
fine.
it worked fine. So I think that's an example of how it could work. But also the fact that, like, even though it ended up working, I know going into it, we were like, wait, really? We've got a new one already? But because there's been so much talk around, hey, we've been trying to figure this out. All of that fell through with the original stuff, and we have to clean slate it. I don't think you would have that same conversation. So to kind of answering David's point about recasting Batman and Superman and getting a new Batman and Superman in there, I think we'd be ready for it because we're like, hey, you know what? We need to restart this DC universe. So we're coming out the gate with these new people. That's why I think Alan's completely right. They need to just come out with either, because James Gunn also, he does a great job with these these groups, Suicide Squad, all that. Just come straight out and do a Justice League movie. All of them. Do the 7. Have all 7 of them in that movie, and then you branch them off into their own movies from there. Cast them all right away. Get directly to your Avengers. It can be dangerous. They didn't do it well with Batman v Superman, but I think James Gunn could do it successfully and then spin everybody off into their own movies.
If so, like,
Maybe,
it would be like if the MCU started with Guardians of the Galaxy, and then we got spin-off shows on all of the Guardians characters.
Sort of. Or I'm even saying if it started with the Avengers and then we got spin-offs showing like, here's the background of this character, and oh, here's what happens with this character afterwards. Like, that's because the better parallel.
Yeah, because I mean, everyone says like, oh yeah, but you need time to build these characters before you bring them all together. But Guardians, you're right. Guardians of the Galaxy is the proof that's not true. We didn't know a single character. We were introduced to like 8 new people, and it worked fine.
Yeah, that's just another example.
And James Gunn was the one who did it. Like you are. Yeah. It's very rare that we are agreeing on this kind of stuff.
It's like I agree. Like they could do a new Superman, a new Batman, a new Wonder Woman, and build it up just like Marvel did, and I think that will work just fine if they actually do it. But I think they could also just say, hey, you know what? Let's be a little bit different. The Justice League is awesome. Let's do a Justice League movie. And there you go.
I'd be fine with that too.
Yeah. Just introduce
that's what they're doing,
all the characters. Like, it's so easy. You have the Justice League. Introduce every person on the Justice League. Start maybe with Cyborg. They were already planning on doing a Cyborg movie, but they messed up. I don't know why you throw all that to the garbage. The funniest comparison is that they do the same thing with every president in Mexico that comes. in the past in Mexico, for example, when this president for Porfirio Diaz, which was a dictator, the only dictator in Mexico, when he left, everyone was trashing the phone lines that he put and the train tracks and everything. They were destroying everything because they were
Oh,
just
gosh.
so angry with the guy. And it's like, this guy, is he angry with the DCEU, and that's why he wants to destroy everything?
I don't know.
Well,
Like,
and again,
some
if you're going to do that, I get it. Clean slate it. Start all over. Recast. You don't get to start over with this cyborg character because hey, we just need to clean slate it and start. Then actually clean slate it, but start with something really interesting.
the weirdest choice, and like the chat has mentioned, is the authority, and this is what just boggles my mind. Most people have no idea what it is. Okay, and it's like split. A lot of people, like Mark Clark, really like the authority comics. Australian guy. My brain is having an aneurysm right now.
Henceforth?
No. Shad Brooks from Shadiversary talked about it. He's like,
right.
I really love these comic books. So it was a disconnect. I know. He loves these comic books, and even he was saying like these feel really out of place. And what makes it weirder, like a guy says, is what the authority is. It's basically a discount Justice League. It's like a reconstruction of Justice League, and the Batman. It has a knockoff Superman and a knockoff Batman, and they're gay. They get married in the comics, right? But the point of it is, it's kind of like the deconstruction of the Justice League. You have these superhero. It's what we're seeing like in every show now. It's the boys. Oh, what if Superman was authoritarian, right? Or what? In same thing with Incredible. Hey, what if we had Superman, but he was bad, right? In this one, he's not necessarily a bad guy, but he has no problem like killing, right?
Mhm.
So
Anti-hero.
and they're doing
than Black Adam was.
so the fact that they're doing a knockoff Justice League, not to say that could never work in the DCU. It would feel perfect if it was in like phase 2 or 3 or 4.
Mhm.
The fact that they're doing that before a Justice League boggles my mind. It makes no sense. And the other contradiction is the reason that they needed to, the reason they gave for recasting Henry Cavill, aside from fresh start, which we already know was a total bold-faced lie. The other reason was James Gunn's vision for the Superman's future is he needed a younger Superman. Except the movie is called Superman Legacy, which implies an older Superman. Also, the Batman movie is about Damian Wayne, right? As
means Bruce has got to be old enough to have a kid.
As Robin, which implies a very old Batman. They didn't just choose any Robin; they chose the last Robin, the one that's actually his kid. There are like 7 Robins that come before Damian Wayne.
And I would argue that doesn't necessarily mean that there has to have been other Robins in this universe before him.
Okay.
He has to have been old enough to have had a kid that gets to the age to be Robin. So like he could be a 20-year-old or a 25-year-old Batman.
So are we going to have like teen Superman and 80-year-old Batman? Like it doesn't make a lot of sense to have Superman at the beginning of his rogue, and to have like at the point that Damian Wayne comes out, like he's already through like his entire rogues gallery. Batman is. He just.
I think people are saying that Michael Keaton maybe.
I mean, unless they're
on top of that, though, they announced the Supergirl show that comes out after the Superman movie, which makes me think it's going to be a passing of the torch. And they even said like, oh, but she's not like Superman. It's dark and jaded, and because she saw a bunch of people die. And I'm like, the amount of times they said dark in the announcement was just like, oh, I thought we hired James Gunn because people were complaining about how dark Snyder made everything, and every single project. Oh, it's like this, but dark. It's like this, but dark.
I miss Snyder.
I wonder. All of these comments are making me wonder. What if they're leading up to doing a Kingdom Come adaptation.
That would be awesome.
That would be so awesome.
But it's going to be
That
too
might be
late.
what they're going for.
I'm not as familiar with Kingdom
But
Come.
Kingdom
specifically,
Come
however,
doesn't work in like a combined universe unless it's like phase 6.
Yeah.
Kingdom Come would work as an Elseworlds world
It's
story.
it's
And I
really
would
awesome
love-
story.
I would love to see Kingdom Come.
Yeah.
But it doesn't
Maybe
work
animated.
unless you've already gone through like 6 stages.
Yeah, I've always heard great things about Kingdom Come, but again, it makes more sense from what I understand. Like after you've had a chance to become attached to these characters and see, so you can see the fall, the change in Superman, so that he's not this. But you need to have become attached to him as this super bright, hopeful character before you.
Yeah,
him,
but I mean, maybe I'm probably wrong on this. It's probably because everything I've heard so far is not a good idea, I think, from the DC. But if they were going the route with, okay, we're doing a Flashpoint, we're restarting everything, but people already know Batman. They already know Superman. We've had tons of movies. We've had tons of trilogies of Batman and different iterations of Superman. What if we go down a route? We're going to reset, and we're just going to start with, just like Spider-Man Homecoming did. They didn't rehash his origin story. He was already Spider-Man. Of course, he's still young, right? It's still very early Spider-Man. But what if it's like, we don't need to show those origin stories anymore. We already have
That's
Batman.
fine.
We already
I'm
have
okay
Superman.
with that.
It's already
Mhm.
established. We're just jumping into this universe. It's a new, different universe that we've never seen before. And now they're old and haggard, and you can do the Kingdom Come thing. You can have their descendants, because basically what Kingdom Come is my hands down favorite story of
great.
all comic books. All the DC heroes are old and retired, and Batman has like super bat mechs that like patrol the city, and
It's like he's
Superman
broken
is
like
retired,
every
and he's
single
just,
bone
like,
in his
farming.
body, so he's
Yeah.
just in a mech suit that moves for him. Like,
Yeah, and basically the next generation of superheroes are not picking up the slack, and the world's gone to crap. And so these old retired heroes have to come step in and save the world one more time. And it's an amazing story. It's so
phenomenal.
I've only ever heard great things about it. So yeah.
Good. Yeah,
But why that's not what I would use to launch a universe.
Yeah.
That's the issue. That's
even-
not the way.
Yeah, I'd even say, to your point of like, well, we don't need to rehash their origin stories. I completely agree with that. I still think like you can have a light sprinkling of here's what happened, like just 2 seconds of it or whatever, but you may not need to. You're right.
yeah.
But it still doesn't seem like the sort of thing that you do with brand new introduction to a hero anyway. Like you still want to get attached to them for, I don't know. Yeah.
It's kind of the same issue that I had with Superman Returns, right? That was a brand new rebooting of Superman, but it was called Superman Returns with a brand new actor, and it's like this is
Wasn't
kind
it
of
supposed to be a follow-up sequel to the
so that one
it
was weird.
supposed to, but
It
it was really weird.
I never ended up watching that one, so yeah.
It's not bad. I mean, it's bad, but it's not like the worst.
The ending is bad. The rest of the movie is okay.
What they did with that one is they cast someone who looked incredibly similar to Christopher Reeves and pretended it was the same guy. And I'm totally fine with that. That like it was supposed to be in a sequel to the original Superman movies, but like years later.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
it wasn't not that bad. I could compare it to Man of Steel. I mean, Man of Steel, is grittier and better, probably better directed, but still.
Yeah.
It's just very confusing. And on top of the Authority, what the other confusing bit is, before we get a Wonder Woman movie, we get
Game of Thrones, Westeros.
That's another one that really wait, whoa, what?
Oh,
we get a I assume it's a prequel.
I hope so.
About the Amazonian.
The underground had a great joke about that. It's MILF Manor Themyscira.
Oh, we gotta talk about MILF Manor, guys. I assume we're all watching it, right?
No clue.
I have no clue what you're
Bro,
talking about.
bro,
I have
Bro,
no idea what
bro.
you're talking about.
bro, I watched an episode, bro,
I
and I
watched an
lost my
episode too.
brain.
I,
Bro, I didn't watch
my
the ones that are
curiosity got the
really.
better
Yeah,
of me. I had to watch an episode of MILF Manor, man.
I just wanted to see how old they were.
They're
My
so old.
God, they're too old.
I feel like they make them look older than they are because a lot of the women are like 40, and then they do like these close-ups and like accentuate their wrinkles. And
Bro,
like,
that's the
I've
son.
known a lot of 40-year-old women that don't look that bad.
I mean,
like,
but they don't go injecting themselves with poison in their faces, and it's that's
Um,
what happens with your skin when you start using all these nonsense products that's supposed to help you, and you
MILF
become a Mills Manor contestant.
MILF Manor is peak television. It's the natural end of evolution of culture.
Is it a reality TV?
It's yes.
Oh, okay.
Bro, it's in the
I
TLC,
was assuming it was
in the Travel and Living, and the Travel and
Yeah,
Learning
yeah.
channel.
dating
reality,
show.
but-
It's a dating show where all of the women are MILFs and all of the
Wow.
men are the sons of those women.
Oh
And
no.
they're gonna date each other.
They have to date
Oh.
the other girls' kids.
Oh my gosh.
It's so weird, bro. It's so weird. And they know what they are doing. Like,
Wow.
because there's one MILF I went up to. I didn't watch the first 2 episodes because there are already great reviews in the internet, but I wanted to watch the episode 3 just to get a taste. And my God, there's a MILF like literally hopping from guy to guy like every week, and it's like, dude, you know what you're doing, right? And her son is like, what is going on? He brought a boy, a person that's 20 years old, because everyone else is 20 or something like that.
Boys are all
18.
20 something.
Yeah,
Women
they
are all
look
40 something.
they look young, bro. They look like high school people, you know. It's
that also
weird.
explains the idea of it actually being MILF Manor as opposed to just like Cougar Manor or something like that. They're not just
Yeah.
older.
So-
They're
yeah,
specifically moms of the other contestants. What
So they're
the
all
heck?
trying to find a relationship with a younger man, and the sons are all trying to sabotage their mother's relationships because they don't want to. But they're also trying to date older women themselves. It's
Don't want a new
it-
daddy.
it's so
It's
it's
They don't want
so
to do that.
Freudian, bro.
They'll-
wild.
It
It's
There should be a
wild.
study about this freaking
Wow.
show, because, bro, the producers, man, they are out of their minds. They are the most crazy because they know how to control and they know
Oh.
what they want.
Everything
They know
I've
how
heard
they act.
of the producers behind these like dating show things is they are diabolical and like manipulative as all get out.
Yeah.
Like,
It-
I
it-
listened to a guy who worked on The Bachelor for a while, and he still has connections with some of the other people, and talking about some of the stuff where they just be like, "Hey, let me just talk," and they'll like purposely set stuff up to just add to
Yeah.
the drama. And
Yeah,
but that's the
it
thing, is
really
it's not
brings to
scripted.
question like how much of this is scripted. Like,
Well, that's the thing. I think what I believe is that it's not even that it's scripted, but it's that the producers push things.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so they're
Yeah,
literally
yeah.
actually
they will
like,
generate
Yeah.
situations. Yes.
Yeah,
They
the
literally
first two,
generate
yeah, the
situations.
first 2 episodes were scripted as hell, but the third one is like where you're,
It's
like
the
everything
contestants
gets
have no
wild.
idea, and some of them are trying genuinely, to some degree or another, to genuinely find interest in something, and then they start messing with their emotions and just
Yeah.
completely messing with them. From everything I hear,
And
Yeah.
as obvious and as repulsive and disgusting as it is, I appreciate that they're upfront about it and they don't have to trick you into watching gay people having sex.
Yeah, they don't hide it. Oh, I got it.
Connection.
Good
Connection.
segue.
Like it at least like it's part of their marketing. This is filth and you're going to like it, right? Like this is
Like
garbage.
Tiger King
you
was.
you dirty slut. You're going to like watching this, right? Like exactly. It's the exact same vein as Tiger King. Like this is just garbage, and I'm gonna eat it up, right? Like I am a garbage boy. I
Yeah,
like it.
at least they're
Oh, give me that
sincere, you
garbage.
know, a little bit of more truthfulness in this world. We need the truth. The truth shall set you free, and that show is truly garbage.
It's bad. It's real
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah,
But-
but I hope it gets better, you know. Hope
Man,
it gets
was it-
worse, so it's funnier.
It was pretty entertaining. I'm not gonna lie. It was funny. I was laughing my head off. Some good news though. yeah, DC just confuses me, and we'll see. But the Terminal List gets a second season and a prequel, which in this case, like the prequel could be pretty great. Have you guys seen the Terminal List?
I haven't, but I heard good things.
Well, so
Most I have, yeah, a little bit.
so the prequel is going to focus on these two characters' relationship, which if
Yeah,
you've
that could be
seen
good.
if you've seen season 1,
Mhm.
can't be developed into season 2 without spoiling. So like I'm actually kind of more excited for the prequel series than season 2, but I'm
Yeah, I
excited
don't
for
know what
both
they do
because
for a
season 1 was
sequel.
pretty great. Oh, for
kinda
the sequel,
wrap things up.
for a sequel, he's written like 7 books.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Noise.
Gotcha.
yeah. He just came out with a new book this year.
Hospice Hacienda.
I didn't know that it was actually based on a book series.
Oh yeah, no, Jack Carr, he's great.
Cool.
He liked one of my tweets.
Yeah, I enjoyed the
Nice.
Terminal List. I had a couple issues with the
Yeah,
ending.
yeah. The
couple
last
episodes.
last episode gets a little bit like, I feel like we're killing a lot of innocent people here. I mean, there weren't like, the excuse was like, oh, but these are all part of that one mercenary group. But there was a lot of
innocent deaths that didn't need to happen. It's like, okay, how far are you going to go for this
Yeah.
revenge plot? You know,
it was still
But, yeah.
friggin' cool, and the ending was great.
the end.
Great.
Yeah, the ending, the actual ending of the last episode was really good.
Pretty good, guys.
Don't want to hear it. Haven't watched through it.
Oh my gosh. Sorry, I missed all these comments. Yeah, so season 2 of MILF Manor is going to be called GILF Manor. That's appropriate. Except like most of the women on the show seem like GILFs, not MILFs. Like they're really, really old. Even though and then after
Guy,
after
Hospice
GILF Manor,
Hacienda.
Hospice Hacienda. That is a
I know
that
that's
is some
Deal. Oh, Deal.
great
That
alliteration.
might actually be fun. Having a dating show in an old folks home or something.
Well,
That could be really sweet.
Old folks' homes get some pretty messed up stuff going on, like
Oh yeah, I heard. Yeah, you
rampant.
crazy America,
Yeah.
crazy.
The Mark Clark says, so you're saying I should wait to start until season 2 is done. Now, I don't know if you're talking about MILF Manor here or the Terminal List, but
I think a MILF Manor.
yeah, so that's that one.
Yeah.
More news. That's too political. We won't go over that story.
Yeah.
I think it's finally time to talk about The Last of Us, guys.
Nice. Okay, we was
Okay.
postponing it for quite a
Let's do
long time.
Here's a meme. That's a good one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so The Last of Us episode 3. It's very gay. I'm torn. There was a lot of really, really good stuff in episode 3, and there was a lot of really just dumb decisions as far as like scripting a TV series, and it was a clear signal, at least to me, of the show's true agenda and the fact that they are definitely not going to change The Last of Us 2.
Yeah.
This
They're proud of
episode was a flagpole saying we are definitely sticking with the crap that everyone hated in The Last of Us 2.
Mm.
Now, the good, Bill's character is the best character so far in The Last of Us by far. Nick Offerman is fantastic.
Always.
His
What a
character,
Great actor.
and the problem is his character is far more interesting than any of the main characters.
Even
Yeah.
than his lover.
Exactly.
We didn't see anything about the guy, only that he died. Nora fell, whatever the name of the. Who is she?
Yeah.
I was screaming, who is she? Put Gloria Gaynor or something. I mean, if you're going to do something stereotypical, just put the girl that sing "I Will Survive." And
I do feel like personally, I felt like
Oh my
the storytelling and the story in that in the episode was really well done. And I appreciate it as I watched the kind of like after show and everything, talking about how like this is just showing this idea that like being there for the ones you love is important, and so that's that message that Bill leaves to him. So like I appreciate that, and I thought it
The
went
thing
really well.
is-
Did I
Yeah,
want
I don't think that translated.
their
And we
personal
can,
relationship? Not
Yeah, and
necessarily.
I don't think
But
that
you know?
I don't think that sending the message that self-assisted suicide is good.
Well, yeah.
Is a good thing to tell people.
Are they
Even-
Canadians?
Even in a post-apocalyptic world, like, and
But
it-
that's not the
it
message I was
kind of
saying.
made
I
sense for the guy
appreciate
who
it.
was dying, but
Mhm.
then for Bill to also off himself at the end is like, this is a really, really bad message to send to people.
Yeah.
not only
Euthanize
that,
your
but
loved ones.
I-
right?
I think they tried to paint this relationship as
Perfect.
loving and affectionate and perfect or whatever.
And it wasn't.
It wasn't. It was really, if you look at it,
It's creepy.
both of them were creepy and selfish, and they were only in it for themselves. If you think so, there's
Was it
lots of.
perfect? No, but I didn't think it was creepy and selfish.
Dude.
Selfish. Yeah,
Imagine,
I don't know.
imagine if the roles were flipped. If it was a
If it was a
heterosexual
woman,
relationship,
if it was a woman in the hole,
if it was
he
a woman that
captures
came,
a woman in the hole,
Mhm.
and he says, "I'm going to give you food, but I can't. No one can know about this, right?" And like, it's literally the episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia about the implication.
Yeah.
I'm not
It's the
implying-
silence of the
I'm
lambs,
not
but gay.
implying that I would do anything, but
He tried to send him away and say, "No, just get out of here. I'm not going to feed you." And
Right,
Frank
and he
said,
says,
"Yeah,
"Hey, I'll stay. I'm gonna go down on you if you let me stay for a little bit." Imagine
he
if that was
straight
the
up
other way
says-
around.
straight up-
Imagine if it was the guy that took away a girl's virginity. It's like, "Hey, I'm gonna do this if you let me stay around and do." It was creepy. It was they
That-
tried
I
to paint it
also
as
remember because
affectionate.
I felt like they did a lot of trying to say like, "Hey, like we have plenty of opportunities to choose to do whatever we want to do." Nick Offerman's character was obviously unsure because he's also a very quiet and like reserved and individual type person. So it was a new experience for him. But it didn't seem to me like it was a
Growing.
creepy
Mike
thing.
Irwin.
I
But it
That line,
goes past
David,
that one
that
side.
line that you mentioned in particular was obviously written, and they thought, "Oh, this is the most romantic thing we've ever written," and it's the worst part about the episode. So
Right.
you got two guys grinding on each other naked in bed, and the one guy says, I'm not a silly whore. Okay, if I sleep with you, it's not just going to be. It's like I'm
No,
not
because
going to
it's
sleep.
like-
I'm not going to sleep with you just for a plate of food. So if I do this, I get to stay for 2 weeks. That's literally what came out of his mouth, and you're like, do you guys not realize what you're implying here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was disgusting.
Maybe he's a hoe that fell in love with his pimp.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like,
But
and-
not only that, it goes beyond that one scene. It's not just that one scene. Their whole thing, they have this awesome community that they're growing things and they're farming and they're doing all this stuff and they're being incredibly selfish, not sharing
Yeah.
that with the rest of the world. It's
Well, yeah,
not
but
just with their relationship with each other, right? And
that doesn't change because of their relationship, because Nick Offerman
Sure.
was doing all of that on his own anyway.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
and that's from my understanding, that's how it is in the game in terms of he's got his own little compound that he's being selfish about anyway. So that selfishness is
it's very
while
different.
they're not perfect, they're it's an understandable level of selfishness of like, hey, I'm doing my own thing. Like, yeah. So I didn't have a problem with that. That fits the world to me completely. And that one,
Yeah. I
while
didn't mind
not
the
great-
selfishness either,
Yeah,
because that was very on par with Bill's character. My biggest problem with the episode is this didn't move the plot forward at
Exactly.
all. It was a little vignette, which could
did
have
nothing.
it could have been okay if Bill's character was going to be important to the rest of the story.
exactly.
But the fact that they do this whole thing and the entire episode was just showing, hey, gay love is regular love too, and it's beautiful and this, and then killed off both characters, had nothing to do with the story.
Mhm.
I honestly would have been okay with it if Bill had lived and was important to and came back later into the story, because then
100%.
you have this wonderful backstory that
Of
gives
understanding
context to the character, which is baffling because in the game he's alive.
So I know that he's alive
Is
when
he
they
really?
get in the game,
Yes!
apparently. But does
So-
he continue
So
beyond?
who here has played the game?
No.
I have not. I've seen a couple spoilers on there.
So is it just me?
And-
Maxa, have you played the game at all or no?
I've read the plot summary. I know
Okay.
I know the story.
I watched the whole
So-
I
gameplay.
haven't played it. But I know
So-
I know what happens. I've done my research. I've watched gameplay too.
They say she's talking about how Ellie's talking about some of the crazy zombies they see, right?
Mhm.
And she's like, is it true they have ones that use like echolocation?
Yeah.
And or before, I think the first one she says, is it true there's ones that have like hulking armor and they throw stuff at you, which is in clear reference to a special zombie in part of the game.
Yeah.
And that's when Tess and Joel look at Ellie and they're like, man, I hope not. I hope that that doesn't exist. Right.
Yeah.
The first time you come across that zombie is in the game at Bill's place.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And Bill makes a sacrifice to, if I remember it correctly, makes a sacrifice to kill that big, gigantic, hulking monster so you guys can escape.
Mhm.
Bill, it is implied in the game that there is a homosexual relationship between
Yes.
the two of them, because you find his partner dead, and there's a note there, a suicide note for
Talking
Bill to
about their
read.
past, yes.
Yeah, and so I mean, it's
Bill
implied,
refers to him as his partner.
Partner. Yep.
right?
And the note, I
I'm
think,
with
references,
Alan
like,
on this.
yeah, my life with
Even
you.
if I, video game aside, looking at it as just an episode of TV, they don't even interact with Joel and Ellie.
They don't even see them.
Yes.
Joel and Ellie show up.
And they're already dead.
Bill
This
and what's the other guy's
Episode
name?
3 was
Frank.
backstory to the guy we stole a car from and never
Exactly.
met.
And,
What
and
does
this-
this
Right.
have to do
So
with
there
the
was no
story?
point to it. It didn't progress the plot. It didn't add to anything. Even if it would have been a heterosexual couple, just a straight boy girl,
Yep.
I still would have thought it was a stupid episode.
Yeah.
Now,
100%.
on top of that,
Even weirder.
we're in an apocalypse movie. We're in a zombie apocalypse movie, right?
Yeah.
Is
What are
there
the
zombies?
odds- what are the odds of the first guy Bill finds also being homosexual?
Right.
And
Well,
hot.
okay, odds are, right? But we're in a zombie apocalypse movie. Are there zombies in this episode?
There's one
No.
zombie that gets shot with a shotgun on his trap. That's it.
And there's
That's
one
it.
that gets stabbed in
And
the
that-
head, I
yeah.
think, right? Or was
Is
that-
Oh,
there
yes,
any?
you're right.
Is there any intent? Is there any parts that are? Is there any fight? Is there any struggle for life? Is there anything other than he has cancer and he's dying at the end?
The
The
one
Raiders
scene
trying to
that they
attack him.
built up throughout the entire episode and then glossed over immediately when it happened. Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's nothing. There's
They
no
didn't
suspense. There's
show
no
it.
drama. There is no level of an ability to lose anything. This is just simply a Romeo Juliet story that we want to throw in to a plot, except this time it's Romeo and Romeo story
Romeo
into
and
the
Julieto.
plot.
It's Romeo and Bromeo.
Romeo and into the plot. It doesn't advance anything. Sure, was it a good episode? People can argue that it was. People can argue that say that Gay Ron Swanson was a good character and the actors did a really good job. You can argue that all day long. And it
Yeah.
was decent. But as
And-
far as for the show
And if this
itself,
was its own thing,
it was utter garbage.
It was
Yes.
directed pretty competently. Like, it's not a bad
Yes.
story. It just has nothing to do with The Last of Us.
Yeah, I
Right
mean
on.
the script is a little bit garbage, and we can talk about that a little bit later when you
Yeah.
talk about.
Can I just chime in something here? At least where my perspective is coming with this, because I
No.
agree with you about like
Sorry, just kidding.
I agree with you about how like the story, and I think the acting, and I think that the writing of it was pretty good for what it was in and of itself. I would argue and disagree that I don't think that it has no effect and that it's not important at all. I do think that most of it is about trying to send this like, hey, look, gay love is love too, and everything else like that, which got my own feelings on, but fine, whatever. It is what it is, and they're going to show it. Cool. I didn't need to see as much of it as I saw, but fine. For me,
Get it,
though,
they're
I
gay
think
already.
it does actually still further the plot in terms of so this is not so first of all, it gives them the truck, so they've got the truck, and it was given to them, and it's because of it establishes a bit of who Joel is, because Joel and Bill, like, they got each other, even though Bill never liked him because he's Bill. It shows how much Bill kind of actually did like Joel and trusted him and knew you're likely going to be the one. And
a scene that I really liked was the dinner scene with all four of them. I was like, this is really good.
Yeah. And also, even though there wasn't very much of that peril, I do think that being able to show an episode, as long as they don't do too much of this, I think having an episode that doesn't have much of that actual peril or something like that going on, or dire attacks going on,
they're going to do the same thing in episode 7. I've heard.
Yeah,
it's going to be another vignette about
with Ellie
at the DLC for Get Last of Us 1.
So 2 out of how many episodes are in the entire season? Is it 8 or is it 10 or?
There's 9.
9 so episodes. 2 episodes out of 9, I think, is probably about the most that you want to do with really quieter things. But it sounds like this, even though this is a zombie apocalypse thing, they're not leaning too hard on the zombie nor on the raiders, but they definitely make sure that they're there. Like you still feel that, but I appreciate that it's a little bit different than the constantly in danger, and more of the we are on a quest, we are trying to get somewhere. And so this is about how this situation happened to me, that these guys are here and have a truck, and we're able to get it from them, and we have a relationship with them that was established as a part of their thing. Wow, also they really did want to have this story that they wanted to put in there. But I actually really liked it, and I felt like it did contribute to.
So let me fix it.
Yeah.
Let me fix it. Because it would be very easy to fix this. And stay true to the game and still have the backstory and still have all of it
later on. Then it's fixed.
100%. Keep Bill alive.
But what's your solution?
Very simple, and you can still have both of them die and everything. You can bring in the big tank thing that you kill in the game, because they have to get the battery for the truck, and long story short, you have to go through this whole thing, and you get the battery for the truck, and you're inside of a school, because you take the battery from a school bus, and you're inside of the school, and that's when you meet this truck, this big tank zombie looking guy, and this big boss battle kind of happens. And put that in the movie, show that in the movie, and have them. It is impossible to kill this thing. They're shooting it. It's armor, the big growths on it. It's too thick. They're not getting anywhere. And have either Bill or whoever run up and try to do something, and he ends up getting killed. And the other one is have Bill's partner runs up, he gets killed, and have Bill so angry and full of grief at that point that he charges the thing with a handful, like a grenade, charges it, is able to jump into it, pop the grenade, shove it down the thing's mouth. Because in the game, everything's armored except his mouth. Shove the grenade down his mouth and keep it in his mouth as he's being crushed. And they've already established, make the episode a little longer so they can establish that they know that Ellie, and yeah, Mark Clarker's right. No battery would work after 20 years, but it's a game and it's a show. You've got to have it.
He built a new one.
Right. But shove the grenade down the thing's mouth, and he's holding it there. And as he's getting crushed and eaten or whatever, he's yelling at her, get her out, keep her safe, Joel, make her. And it's the same message that Tess gave him, save who you can, as he holds the grenade in the thing's mouth. Boom, it kills him, it kills the monster, has the sacrifice, you have the love story, it furthers the plot, it brings in another part of the video game boss that you may never even have to see again. But that would have solved the entire issue of, oh, he has cancer, I'm going to just kill myself with him, and you can take all my stuff.
And it would
that's the message that I can get behind, recognizing the biggest problem being that message. I kind of get it. I don't necessarily. I'm not so mad at the message, even though it's not exactly a message I love. I'm not mad at that message either. I think that's the big one that I agree with, is the just giving up at the end there. But they were old and whatever.
Again,
I hated the aging up, because they've shown Pedro Pascal aged up 20 years and he barely looks different. And then Nick Offerman turns into
a grandpa,
like a 90-year-old grandpa at the end. You're like, this looks really, really bad. That made no sense.
And the other guy
looks good with the gray hair.
One real quick follow-up, Corbin, is Bill dies after, you run into
Bill's
him.
alive. Bill's alive in the game.
When they show
Bill's alive.
He's alive, but then he dies before you leave, right? In the game?
No. Bill is alive in the games.
No, he stays alive the entire game. Okay. Does he ever come back? Does he actually ever do anything else?
No.
In the... Yeah. So I don't think it mattered that he needed to still be alive. It's because you don't have the interaction between him and the main characters, but he doesn't need to come back at any point because he doesn't come back in the games either.
Yeah.
Then
But the
why-
part of the
then
game, even
why
on him being
tell us
alive, the part of
that's
it.
my point. If he doesn't come back, then why do we care about his backstory?
And that one's because they wanted to show this backstory. But again,
Exactly.
Right. That's
fine.
the only
I
reason.
don't care.
And
That's
I
fine.
think it's time we need to show you some context, guys. Maybe not everyone has seen this, but the Last of Us director says he wanted to trick viewers into watching an episode about gay romance.
I believe it 100%.
He is speaking
that-
inverse. He literally said, sometimes you have to sort of trick the rest of the world into watching these things before they're like, oh my gosh, that's two guys. I just realized. And then I think they might understand that it's all real. It's all just the same love. Whore, the
That's inconvenient.
the director's
But
name
whore, but
is
whore.
Whore, who is gay, just discussed the sexuality of Nick Offerman's character.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, and
this
that's
is my problem.
100% why they put
Yeah.
it in there, and that's my issue. I think, Corwin, you're absolutely right. They could have fixed it with a more noble sacrifice instead of a cowardly, way out
Do I
giving
gotta
up on
come
life.
out?
But my issue is it's not
Wait,
with all
say
the
wait.
gay stuff. It's because it didn't have any bearing on the plot other than hey, they got a car, and that could have been done in 5 minutes.
I'll be out in a minute.
right?
Can you shut the door?
So the whole thing was just this big backstory, and it's this thing that they do in all modern popular shows. I feel like nowadays, at least one or maybe two episodes in a series is like this completely disconnected, like artsy vignette thing that completely changes the pace of the show, and it doesn't have anything. It shows like episodes like in Breaking Bad, that one you just follow the fly around the meth
Those are
lab.
called-
all
That
the
episode
time.
traumatized
You know?
me, bro.
And
I cannot
or
see a fly without getting all that
and
shit.
Walking Dead does that all the time. Like, as soon as it starts, like, this is going to be the artsy episode. You gotta get this over with.
It's a
I
model,
hate it.
but
I
there's
hate
two
it.
purposes of it. One is to save them money because it's a smaller location usually.
Right. It's just
But
filler.
two, it gives them a chance to explore the characters, explore who the characters are and get to know the characters better. It can
Which
be
is
done
great
really
if
poorly,
the
but
character's
I
going to
think-
be in the story.
Exactly. It's fine to give a backstories on characters that matter, but just to give a backstories on, we got a car, there's no fulfillment in that.
I still think it was good. I still
Replace
think
it.
lends to the world. It fits the world. It brings up like this is what this guy goes through and what he went through.
That's the
I
thing,
really
it
like
didn't. It felt
yeah.
really out of place in the world because everyone else is the whole vibe that they're trying to produce with the show is this bleak thing where everything sucks, and then this is but because it's gay romance and everything's happy and flowers and perfect just because they're gay.
But
Like,
I love that
it
they
felt
didn't
Flip it.
It felt
Flip it.
extremely out of place with the rest of the
I
the vibe that they're
completely
trying to.
because the
create
whole
the
thing
show.
is being able to find like peace and joy amidst this bleak world
But they didn't even show the amidst bleak world. They show one zombie.
Well, that's my problem.
That
That's
attacked
my
the
problem,
police.
Jared.
Two
That's
episodes
my
of the
problem.
bleak world before
That's not the point of the story of The Last of Us. The entire point is that attachment is bad. Like that, and you'll find out. You're gonna find out later. Okay.
fair.
The entire point of this story is it's a very bleak, pessimistic view of this world, and this episode just it makes no sense. It's the complete opposite of that.
Even
I think
even
this
if you
comes
flip it, just flip it. Let's say this is a boy and a girl.
Exactly.
Let's say it's a guy and a girl. The episode would still suck.
See, and that's just where I disagree because it's not because I agree and I get that everybody here is talking about that. Even whatever we felt about the gay stuff of it, the gay stuff wasn't the problem. I completely agree with you. I just think that I still enjoyed the episode and I feel like it still worked for me. And I think that there's still a level of like for me, this is where adaptation works in terms of we have to cut down certain aspects of how the story flows, which is why maybe they didn't have the big bad monster here. I'm sure they'll probably run into it later because we see in the trailers something crawling out of an explosion that looks like what you were describing. We'll run into it.
Yeah.
We'll get somewhere else. And to me, this is all adaptation.
Yeah.
The idea of saying attachment is a problem, but maybe it's also the thing that gives you motivation and reason for being and brings you joy amidst this terrible world. Even if it causes problems, it's something that will bring you joy in this life. I think that's what they're adapting with this, and I like it. I like the
That's
point of it,
fine
even
if they had showed more of a contrast, but it wasn't. There was no
But
contrast.
the contrast came from the
And I
previous
thought-
episodes. You see
But
that you see
they
that in the
didn't
first two episodes.
But
And then-
Bill and Frank didn't experience that.
But
They
they
had
ex-
their perfect haven away from everything else.
But
They
that's
didn't
because
show
Yeah, I
Bill
felt like
struggling
Bill and
with
Frank
anything,
just had this.
They were just there.
Bill and Frank just had this world that was just theirs.
Right.
It was like
exactly.
this. It was like
And-
this perfect little bubble
It's
around
completely
them,
separated
so they
from
could
everything
live
else.
their romance.
Yeah, and
And-
there was no stakes to it at all. And by the way, too, they like you said, brother, they said they were building up with, oh, people are going to come take this paradise from you eventually.
And they even
And
gloss
then
over
they had that. They had that
They
one scene.
do
and-
gloss over that
and it
pretty
was just-
quick.
Okay,
I'll
that
give you
scene that scene
so
was
weird how
extra
everything
retarded
played
though.
out because he's out there in the open firing against these people. Like,
And
what are you
they've
doing?
established that this
And then he
character
comes out to
is a
distract
prepper.
him. He's like,
This-
"You're gonna get him killed."
It's worse.
And then he
David.
gets shot.
It's
And like,
worse.
okay, so I
It's
guess Nick
worse.
Offerman's dead.
It's
But
worse,
then he
David.
doesn't die. He just recovers
David,
automatically.
it's
And then he
worse.
doesn't die, but his partner gets
Suddenly
in
has
the wheelchair.
cancer.
And it's just like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
who's
Okay.
gonna die? It just there were
David,
no stakes. It just flip
It's
flop back
even
and forth.
stupider than
I thought
that.
it was bad.
I
It's
disagree
even
with the no
stupider.
stakes, but it was weird for sure.
David, it's
The
even
flow of it.
stupider than that. They establish that Bill's character is this insane prepper. He's got his
Right.
house covered in cameras. Like the first line was freaking awesome when he's like the New World Order freakos and like
Yeah.
and, like and I loved that like the
Jack
show was
booted
implying
somebody.
they dragged all these people off and Bill maybe didn't know what their fate was, but we knew that these people were just dragged off and executed. And
Yeah.
Bill walks out of this house
That
and he
part
starts
was really well
and
done.
he starts smiling and you're like, this is like the worst possible scenario, but it's like the perfect situation for his character. His character is finally happy now. And so I loved what they were doing with his character. It was really, really cool. But he's established as this insane prepper who's got walls and walls of guns. And then the first time you see him use his gun, he's standing in the middle of the street. He doesn't even have body armor. You're telling me that he wouldn't have had Kevlar or anything, standing in the middle of the street with a sniper rifle. Like,
Not even
why
a
isn't
sniper,
he
like,
shooting his
like a
rifle from
for
the
hunting.
windows? And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
his gay lover grabs a pistol and runs outside, and he has no kind of training with firearms at all, and he is hiding behind cover.
Mhm.
He is showing more competence than Bill.
I believe that Bill had
it
taught
made
him
him look
something.
retarded.
Yeah,
It was
that's
so
it.
stupid.
That
Yeah.
scene was,
That
and
was
that's what I say with the writing and the script in this show in this episode was really freaking retarded. Like, first of all, they totally forgot that when a zombie dies and here's a shotgun, it calls the other zombies. The
Sometimes, not
plans.
always.
Well, I mean, in
feels
the last
better than
episode,
nothing.
they didn't like show something specific, or they didn't say, oh, not always happens. It's just when whatever. In the last
I
episode,
bet you that's never gonna come up again.
yeah, it's never gonna come up again, because that episode was like the big thing. That was like the holy moly, now we're done. We gotta sacrifice Tess, which was terribly done. That was one of the dumbest scenes that I've seen in this show.
It was another one of those
When she
uncomfortable
was
ones
like,
that,
grab a grenade and throw it. It's going to blow up anyway.
There
You
was
have-
there was
is
a box
Yes.
of grenades next to her.
Yes. So I've got to
didn't-
bounce because I've got to be a dad because I was working all day and I just got home. But this, I just want to preface this. So spoilers, anyone who hasn't played the game and doesn't know the future episodes, this does have me a little nervous for how they're going to handle the main villain for Ellie in a couple episodes. So I'm gonna give a 5-second pause so people can wait, and then I'm just kind of explain it a little bit. Looking at the timer. Okay, 5 seconds is up. Without spoiling, I don't want to spoil anything, but this does have me nervous, and that's why I'm
That's
bringing
Last
it
of
up.
Us
So if you
2,
guys
Mark.
don't want to, not Abby, Mark Clark's not, it's not Abby. This is this is in season part 1. While they're going across the United States, Joel has to be taken care of by Ellie. I'm going to leave stuff blank. Ellie ends up getting captured by a pedophile.
Mm.
and like it's this whole like he's trying to convince Ellie, because remember she's 14 in the game, 13, 14 in the game, which they're trying to portray that in the show. He wants her to be his little, he refers it to playtime and all this stuff. And then Joel goes through once it flips, and Joel wakes up from him being super sick, and he goes to rescue Ellie. There's a whole sneaking episode or sneaking part where you can't alert all the guards because there's dozens of guards. And as he's walking around, the guards are talking about how perverted their boss is, but their boss knows all the area and he's a local, and so they need him. And it's got me a little nervous because the woke culture leans into the love is love type thing.
Yeah.
Are they going to play that down? And are they going to kind of ignore that, cast that to the side? I mean, Ellie in the game bites the dude's fingers off. They get in this. She ends up burning him alive, which, in my opinion, is what should happen to those people. But I am nervous because I don't know. And this is going to be it's probably going to be episode 6 if there's only 9. And because if 7's the DLC, it's going to be probably episode 6. How they're going to go through it, or maybe it's episode 5 and 6, because it's a big part of the game. It does have me nervous that they're gonna do something with that.
I think they
and
gotta
not make it a
love it,
perversion.
Knowing their track record from season or part 2, Last of Us Part 2, they're probably just going to make him into a normal guy, and he just asks her to smile.
He's probably going to be a MAGA Republican, is why.
Yeah.
I mean, no kidding.
I hope that if they show it to be an
I
actual
bet you.
pervert, that they do let him just be completely burned alive and have the worst thing happen to him.
I
Or
hope so.
even though I can understand why this would not be your favorite way to handle it, if they decide to just say, we're not going to have this be a bad guy, we're going to have him be a whatever, and move on from that. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they're not gonna dare to make the whole, rooming. I cannot say the word, I guess. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. They are too scared.
Yeah, well, I mean, what it is she gets captured, and they're either going to eat her or she can join in his little playtime group. Is essentially what it is.
Yeah.
And it's this whole conflict, and that's what kicks it off. And you get to play Ellie in those spots. You get to play Joel. The game is one of my top 10 favorites, and it does show that as a massive perversion and evil. And I'm scared about what's going to happen because of their track record.
Well,
and this episode does show me that.
They told us that was their intention. They told us we had to trick people into watching a gay romance.
Right.
Here's the thing. We've seen it's the dishonesty, right? They had to sneak it into episode 3, otherwise no one would have watched it. Like what just happened with Bros, the movie. Okay, they came out and said, hey, we're doing a gay romance. Okay, which is fine if that's what you want to watch. Okay, the problem is no one watched it because the percentage of people who are gay is very small in terms of the world.
Well, it sounds like even gay America didn't go out to see it.
Exactly, and even
I heard the gay person be like,
even of that small percentage, a lot of them didn't want to go see this movie, and so they have to sneak it in. And they said that's what they were doing. They had to sneak it in to a popular franchise where it didn't exist in the source material. It was just hinted at or implied, right? Like half the people didn't even know that Bill was gay in the games until someone explained it to them. Okay, because it had nothing to do with his character. It was a part of who he was, but that wasn't his character. In this, in episode 3, rather than him having a character, his entire personality was, I'm gay. Okay, so. And that's what they have to
was more than that. Frank's personality was basically
the only way that they can get
Right.
people to watch this stuff is to sneak it into other IPs, and that's the definition of social conditioning, and it's evil. It doesn't even.
And with that, like we were saying, Alan, it is not even bad. Like, and I'm not arguing the story between them. The two of them were good. It was well done. It was very well done. You like, and Martina girl made a comment. She liked Bill. I liked Bill. I liked Frank. I liked them. The story it showed, but it wasn't integral to the plot. It wasn't integral to the overall arcing.
Right.
We now know a story of two people that we don't give a flying crap about going forward at all. And it's not even like
we
they were very
know
important.
more about Bill than we do about the main characters.
Yes, we know more
We
about
care
Bill
more-
and Frank
Yeah.
than we do
I
about
personally
Ellie and even
cared more
Joel
about-
in some aspects.
I cared more about his characters than Billy or Ellie. Sorry,
Yeah.
Joel or Ellie, yeah.
Joel
I was
I
like,
have more with
why
them.
are you going to die with the other guy? It's like just survive and help people. How
Yeah.
selfish are you? You have a haven on
Es-
hell, literally.
Especially when he comes to you and says, I have someone who's immune.
Yeah.
You would think that even if your partner was dying, you would think, at least me, I hope that I would go, I don't, and Mark Clark made this comment, he says, I don't know if I'd want to live without my partner. Sure, I don't want to live without my wife, but if my wife died and then in that same time period, I've got someone that came up in this situation and said, hey, I've got someone who's immune to the virus. Immune.
If
I
Bill
think I
had
would be
survived
like,
that
well,
long,
she's dead. I've got a new purpose in life.
Yeah.
I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that we get her to where she needs to be.
And I think
That's
that-
how I hope I would react to
Yeah.
that situation,
Well,
because it's not all hopeless.
Yeah,
But-
and
Yeah.
I even
And-
understand the not wanting to go on without your partner, and especially at that age, it's a little bit more like understandable. But I agree that, like, yeah, maybe you could help out the world a little bit, but Bill's not the kind of person who wants to
and the-
help out.
Exactly.
Anyone.
Everyone
And Bill
struggles
never met
after
Ellie, so
that
Bill
happens.
doesn't
right?
know that there's somebody who's immune. So
even then though, like just the like they were clearly trying to pass it off. Oh, this, and they, because they said it in the episode, that's incredibly romantic. No, I'm sorry, it's not. Even as hard as it would be to go on without my wife, it would be terrible to tell to and this is what they're pushing in Canada. The lady who was struggling to get like a ramp installed in her home. It wasn't a ramp. It was one of the little things to help you get up the stairs,
Yeah.
right? She was struggling to get that approved with the government. And so they said, well, you can always just kill yourself. They offered her assisted suicide rather than helping her live. This is clearly a person who wanted to live. And that was the problem. They were trying to pass this off as this huge romantic gesture that Bill is going to also die with his partner. As much as hard as it would be to move on, to pretend that is a good choice to make is evil. It is bad, and it will tell people who are in similar situations that it's okay. And I am not okay with that.
Agreed.
That is evil.
And to
Mhm.
address Mark Clark's comment down there, it says, but Bill hadn't met Ellie yet. In the game, he had. In
Yeah.
the game, when he shows up, Joel explains everything to Bill. Bill's having a hard time because Frank's killed himself when you show up. And he explains everything to Bill. And Bill's like, all right, yeah, we got to get you. We got to get you what you need.
Yeah.
Is that you wouldn't be so selfish and dumb in a situation where they
Anyway,
literally the whole
I've got to bounce,
world-
guys. My
Okay.
my
Bye,
Bye,
family's
Colin.
screaming, so I will be watching and I'll comment stuff.
sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't care how much you hate society or whatever, but no one would be as a as a selfish
I believe
as
tons of people would be that
as
selfish.
Bill.
I
I mean,
agree that it's not good, but I believe tons of people would be that selfish, 100%.
Mm,
Yeah.
but
Well-
it's the situation, bro, that they are in. It's so dire, and he knows that most of the war is gone. Most of the cities of your beloved country, because he had, the flag that said "Don't tread on me," and all. I hope I will expect that he will be, this red, right winged, red blooded, loving American that will love America. Uh, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. He would try to save at least some of his friends, something like that, but he didn't have any friends. Or something like that,
I believe him being a I want to live on my own, and I think that even though he's got the American flags, I think that that's probably more of a because America gives me rights to do whatever I want, rather than because he wants to help the rest
Well,
of America.
It doesn't
Right.
matter because any
Wow.
criticism of this episode means that you are a bigot and that you hate gay people.
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
hate that
unfortunate.
narrative. I hate that narrative so much, and like there's so you literally don't understand the definition of bigotry. Bigotry means not letting anyone have an opinion that's different from yours. That's literally the definition. It means to respond with hatred or violence towards anyone who has a different opinion than you do. And to say that if you don't agree with the gay agenda, you are a bigot is literal bigotry. Okay.
Mhm.
The people calling you bigots are the bigots. Okay. And I want to make it very clear. I am a Christian. Okay. I personally believe that homosexuality is a sin.
I mean,
Now, there are lots of other things that are sins in Christianity. Two heterosexuals living together outside of the bonds of marriage is also a sin. And I am friends with lots of sinners. Okay. Just to have the belief that something is wrong doesn't make you a bigot. I have lots of friends and family who are homosexual, and we get along wonderfully. Okay.
because Jesus said himself, if you are free of sin, throw the first stone. I always thought that that was one of his best catchphrases.
Guess what?
Mhm.
I have friends that aren't married and they live together, and I'm friends with them. Okay, I'm friends with sinners. Okay, even I'm a sinner. Okay, just because we want to be better, or because we have a belief, these things can coexist. It's okay.
Yeah.
I'm
Yep.
just so sick and tired of that narrative.
It's just like in the past, probably it was more often to see these kind of people, the God hates, signs and all of these things.
Guess what? The Ingrid Mexa, he drinks, and he's a sinner, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't drink because my religion says not to do that.
Yeah.
And
But that's the thing I like being a
and
sinner.
Not to throw you under the
Mexa
bus, Mexa.
is like he's like one of the coolest guys I know. I love him.
Yep.
And he's a freaking sinner. By the way,
I'm 100% with you.
By the way, you should repent. Okay. I'll send you some literature.
I cannot read in English, my man.
No.
We can get it in Spanish, 100%. I
Son of a gun.
We're gonna send some missionaries.
But I'm 100% with you. Like, that is my most frustrating thing when equating disagreeing with something to hating it, or disagreeing with something and saying, I wish that maybe this wasn't portrayed or presented quite as forcefully as it has been. That is equivalent to being hateful. I really do have a problem with that. And so when there are these people saying like, oh, because you hate this, you must only hate it because you hate gays or whatever. Yeah. I do have a big problem with that. I do find that it's because that there are still some people out there that do that, and they tend to be loud. That I can understand why there are people from the left who are seeing it that way, but I just think that they're wrong. They're seeing it. They're taking it the wrong way, and then starting to equate us who disagree with it and have our own opinions.
Twitter has been crazy.
Yeah.
Anyone saying anything bad about this episode is a bigot.
Yeah.
Can we all just admit though that sex scene was uncomfortable?
I didn't even watch it, right?
And by the way,
how did you watch it?
There was
and I'm the sinner.
They added some sucking sound effects too when he goes.
By the way,
the
episode was not rated for sexual content. There was no advisory at the beginning of the episode.
I would have.
They had the previous episode had brief nudity for the 10-minute long naked autopsy.
But brief nudity for a 10-minute nude
but
scene.
there was no sexual content warning at the beginning of this episode.
Yeah, I would have been
because they wanted to trick
to be clear, I would have been just as uncomfortable if it was a heterosexual couple having sex.
100%. I skip heterosexual scenes too.
It was a really awkward sex scene. Yeah. And the dialogue. Hey, I'm not a silly whore. I'm not going to have sex with you for one plate of food. If I'm going to have sex with you, it means I get to stay for 2 whole weeks. Like, so you just an expensive whore. That's literally what he was saying.
So I mostly did take it the way that they were trying to have it come across of the like, it's it's because I actually care about you, or I actually want to do this rather than because you fed me.
Oh man, it was
But
so good.
I completely agree with you that that definitely could have come. That comes across very differently if you look at it a different way. So
Exactly.
but
Matt,
So,
the kid
I
was
have-
arrived.
stand by the fact I still felt like it was a great episode. I still felt like it fit. It worked.
And here's the thing:
all of
it
it.
could have
I
been.
really did like it.
I think I don't think there's anything bad with putting in this kind of backstory if it's a character who's going to be relevant to the story.
Mhm.
And I would have,
Exactly.
and even though he's not in the game, I would have liked to see Bill pop in every once in a while.
Yeah.
It would be a cool
and-
thing. I would love
and
for them to like start using that as a home base. Like I don't see why, like in a
Mhm.
scenario outside of recognizing what they've got going on with Ellie, like if Bill and Frank die, I would have imagined them being like, "Hey, Joel, Tess, come on up here, come enjoy our compound now." Like we're selfish
Exactly.
enough, to your point, Mexa, that we don't really want you living here with us. We want to kind of have our own, because we are a little bit selfish. But when we die, sure, you guys can have it. We can. We're not here,
Mhm.
So like,
Yeah.
it would be cool. I would love to see this. If this was a long-standing thing, like I was a big fan of Supernatural. I loved watching Supernatural, regardless of how good or bad it might have been at different times.
I couldn't get past the filler. Sorry to interrupt your thought, but
Yeah.
my thoughts on Supernatural. It has a really cool premise, and like the main characters were interesting. And just in season 1 alone, there were so many filler episodes. I couldn't get past season 1.
For
I was like,
me,
I like this. I want to like this show, and it is so hard to watch.
even the filler was a lot of what I liked because
Okay,
they got
the
to
bees
explore different-
episode, really.
That one wasn't great, yeah.
That was the one that did it for me. I was like, I
I don't
can't
remember
watch
that
this
one,
show
but
anymore.
what I always loved about it was that they always they
Jared.
had an opportunity to
OG
explore
Jared.
lore in
Sorry,
different
But
worlds.
sorry to interrupt you. Go on with your point.
Anyway, but just like the idea of like with Supernatural, when they come across a cool like hunting compound or like a person that did some cool hunting stuff, like they do in some of the later seasons where they come across the Men of Letters and their old compound or whatever. Like it's cool to see our characters then like use this established thing. So like I'd have loved that. I thought that would have been cool, but obviously we have a story to tell about getting Ellie to some scientists or whatever. So
Yeah.
I don't
So
know. Anyway,
I have one more.
I don't even mind the filler aspect of it. I liked it. I thought it was well told.
But and
Minus the stupidity of
that's
this
the other thing though is
handling
that
the
filler in
creation.
general was created for seasons of television that had 25 episodes.
Like
This has
Supernatural.
9 episodes, and it's already
Exactly.
Yeah.
100%. So I do have one
filler.
more.
What's your last point?
Dumb filler. Yeah. So,
I have one more small nitpick criticism with the episode, and then I actually have a couple good things to say about it. First off, I think this might actually be a goof, but when they left their in episode 1, when they left the town or the city, whatever,
Yeah.
the radio started playing 80s music, did it not?
Yes.
And that was supposed to mean danger,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
when
they
they
addressed
get here, why
Yeah,
why
they-
was that music going? They have a throwaway line that says, "Oh, they have music
80s.
going on repeat or whatever."
The-
Why would it be 80s music going on repeat?
because
80s
That's
is
what he
supposed
heard.
to be
David, they
warning.
explained that.
Yeah.
That's the music that he heard coming over the radio. He
So-
says if Bill doesn't reset the countdown, then it will start playing 80s music automatically, probably meaning that Bill's dead.
Yeah.
Oh,
So the idea being is it's a dead
He's
man
got a
switch
ticker, and if he
saying,
doesn't
"You're
reset
dead."
it manually, it
Yeah.
automatically starts playing 80s.
okay,
It's
that
a
makes
dead man
sense. Then.
switch. Yep.
I
Jared.
thought it. Okay, gotcha.
Thanks for joining the show. I assume you want to talk about The Last of Us, but we just finished. So,
Yeah, no.
Glad to hear this.
That's
No,
the only one I was able to watch. Sorry, it's been a kind of a crazy week. So
all right. So we're going to talk about Vox Machina. So bye, Jared.
Okay, come good, guys.
Oh, you mean
Hope you have a good night.
So,
No, what are your thoughts?
what do you think, Jared?
You've also played the game.
I liked. I mean, it was
Careful,
okay.
careful what you say. If you say anything
I know,
negative,
I know.
it means you're homophobic.
So here's the thing. For me, it was a little awkward just because.
Whoa, Jared.
Let the man speak.
Because that's how they wanted the scene to be, right? Is like when they first start like advancing on one another, like it was meant to feel
Why do you
awkward.
put it that way? Your explanation of the scene is more awkward than the scene.
They just played gay music in a piano and they are banging in the room.
Jared is talking like he's never, seen a woman before.
Only men.
So yeah, it was that was supposed to be awkward, and it definitely felt awkward.
It was
But I mean,
uncomfortable.
I thought it was sweet. Like I thought, there was some nice sentiment about how they lived their life together.
Yeah, there were parts that I was like, oh, that's nice.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the only thing that I really had issue with was that it was in a way sort of promoting suicide.
Yes, yeah,
Yep.
we did.
Right?
Yeah, we talked
Like,
about that
it
ad
was essentially
nauseum.
saying, "Hey, this is okay to do if you feel at peace with doing it." And
if
I'm
you-
like,
If
okay,
you get the big sad, kill yourself.
yeah. And so that was
Nuance
sad
in
because
that, but I still agree with not loving. Like I still don't love the message it did send. But I will argue that it was at least a little bit more subtle or nuanced than that.
And
But
well, that's my
I don't
problem
think
with
so,
it.
but-
Is that even in that situation, it's not okay, and to say that
Yeah.
it's romantic is wrong.
yeah, exactly, because they're
But
playing
that's
off
the problem.
as,
No,
if you love me, you'll let me do
That's
this.
exactly the problem, Jared. The fact that it's
Yeah.
nuanced is the problem, because there isn't someone who's just going to say, "Hey, I feel like it, and so I'm going to do it." Right?
yeah,
It's all of those situations are nuanced. There's always an excuse, and
Yeah.
it's always wrong.
There was actually one really really bad line from Mark that he said, "I want you to love me the way I want you to," something like that, something
Yeah.
almost, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Holy, this is sick!" Like this
Yeah,
is
from Frank,
literally him, manipulating Bill into feeling even worse.
Yeah.
Because why can't you just live on your days? Bill literally doesn't care at all taking care of you. It's like you can spend more days. It's not like you're going to die that day, and if you die naturally and suddenly, it's like, why don't you just do that? By the way, the pill amount, it was like, okay, that's really dumb. Like that's going to kill someone as big as Bill. It would have been funnier. I was like, please make it happen. Like Bill just wake up from a drug induced coma. He's like, oh, what happened here? And he's
Crap,
fans
I ain't
Frank.
take enough.
And Frank is like, oh. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I would think is that, like, in that aspect, I was like, okay, I don't like that they're suggesting that this is a good thing, but I mean, I know there is always the flip side where people do consider that your choice, and hey, this is something that, especially if you're in a lot of pain, medically, like, you get to decide.
and really old like that. Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like,
I am
It's a debate.
not
It's a
for it.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
still,
not-
I'm
it's
still
not a
mostly
debate.
with you in terms of like I'm not for it. I don't think that's a good thing to do. But I kind of get it at that point. It's like a lot of so another example of like during the pandemic, a lot of like older people were like, look, I know that I'm the one that's at most risk here, but like to make me just live a sad existence here alone and not be able to see my family is worse than having to catch COVID and dying or whatever. And so like it's up to them to
But that's also just
That
letting
is
natural
a very
causes
very
take
different
effect.
decision, though.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah,
specific
I
as
mostly
well.
agree with you, but I don't know. It's
And I do agree that in Frank's case, there may be a conversation to be made. He was dying anyway, right? But that does not excuse
Bill.
Bill
Yeah.
from making that
And
decision
it,
as
and
well.
it does not
I'm
make
with
it
you.
romantic.
And it does not make it right and does not make it romantic. I disagree with it
Yeah,
on both accounts.
Because
But I
Frank,
can see an argument for Frank's case.
Yeah.
Not for Bill's case.
but what was Frank expecting? Like he was just gonna, okay, I'm going to die and leave my husband to bury my rigid body in.
Yeah.
What was he expecting? It was obvious that the other guy was going to say, and I was like, okay, they're going to both off themselves up.
I mean,
Because
well,
he's like,
how much better and more emotional would it be if
To have
the guy
Bill's
that has
character
terminally
remain.
ill, he commits suicide, and then Bill is like, how freaking dare you
Yeah.
do this?
Yeah.
Like I loved you. How dare you make
Yeah.
the decision to take
no,
yourself out
but
of
gay
the world?
love is
And then if
better.
you want to, he can do
Gay
that noble
love
sacrifice.
is better
Where
than
about
straight.
Well, my
he
first
can
thought
die
was
like
when
Tess
Frank
did to save him.
when Frank is first telling him, you're going to do this and you're going to do this and you're going to do this, my first thought was like, that would suck to be Bill. Not only that your partner is going to die, but that you are being told by your partner, kill me.
Right.
Mhm.
I would
And
rather be
you are
dead
going
than
to
spend the
hold me
rest of my
as I
life.
die.
It's
Yeah.
also so much more interesting if Bill's character has to live with this.
Exactly.
Well, and I think in
And
the
that would
game
be
he does.
heartbreaking.
He does. He's alive in the games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Again, I'm more with you, Jared, in terms of like there were things I didn't like love about some of that messaging, but overall, I thought the episode was really good.
Yeah.
I thought it
But-
was
Yeah.
sweet, and,
Yeah,
and there
it's-
were
it's-
definitely some nuances that were good, but yeah, I agree. And there were some like ways of telling the story, like the passing of time, which because again, I watched the thing afterwards, and then that's kind of what they were using it for, is to kind of explain like the passing of time and
Yeah.
how it's gone. And
Oh.
and that's the other thing too. Like this situation is difficult, right? Like so we're judging all of this based off of our current situation and our beliefs, but like
yeah.
this is something that and I think this is the power of this show and this game is that literally it's like, okay, this is something where everyone is threatened all the time.
Yeah.
And how does that change who we are as people, as society, as humanity? Like, how does that change your views, your perspective,
Yeah.
your beliefs? Right.
But-
And so
But
So
for the
that
show
seems-
to tell us that it was romantic, I can't. I'm out.
yeah, I agree. I wasn't very happy.
Like I
about-
understand. Obviously, some people are going to make choices different than me, and I could see someone making that decision to also go out, but for them to like highlight it as, oh, it's so beautiful. No,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
that's wrong.
And go with
You-
go out with that go out with style, like come on.
Yeah, do something cool.
Yeah, something cool, like
Charge the
go and
feds.
kill a bunch of
Sacrifice yourself
zombies
fighting
or...
some zombies.
Yeah.
I do
Okay,
really like some
go
of
out with
Corbin's-
a bang.
Well, I was thinking
Yeah.
about OD
Literally,
in
man.
some hard drug.
I agree, Jared.
Jared, you mentioned-
I was going to say I really liked Corbin's suggestion about
Yes.
like you can
Yeah.
even do it.
Yeah,
all
just do it like they
before-
did it in the game, but
you
have
can
him
even
die
do it all
instead.
before Ellie shows up. You could have the very end, like it's it's a week before Joel and Ellie are going to show up, just like you see where Frank's like going to die because he's got
Right.
cancer. But you could have it where like they're going out, they have to go and get something for themselves, just between Bill and Frank, and they see that that there's this crazy strong one, and then they have to go in and Bill sacrifices himself because
Yeah.
he's so
Yeah. Right.
torn about it. Like that would have been really a cool thing to do.
Yeah.
I would have loved that. I'm
And
not
that would have
saying
been a
it was-
noble sacrifice, a noble way to take yourself out.
You could have
Be-
kept like
because-
90% of the
Yeah.
episode the same. If
Yeah.
but literally the biggest problem is just Bill's character in the very end.
Yeah. And,
Um,
and yeah, so
yeah.
even though like I liked it, and so I'm not saying like
And
I
the
wish
premise
that differently, I can completely get behind
Yeah.
saying that would have been really cool.
But Jared, you mentioned the passage of time, and this is something they messed up. In they showed that the gates are starting to deteriorate, and that they've been attacked, and then they showed that were cars stacked up in front of the main gate, and then Joel shows
Yeah.
up and walks through a regular gate.
Yeah.
Well,
That was
I think
Yep.
because I did see that, and I think I just kind of assumed it was probably another.
No, it was the front
Yeah,
entrance.
the back
It-
gate.
it-
Yeah.
They very clearly
was really
showed
weird,
it was
yeah.
it was the entrance.
No, I
Yeah,
think
it
he
was
went in
really
through the
weird.
back door.
No.
No.
Well played.
Yeah. So one thing I did like about
Wow!
the
Oh, David.
episode, you just now got it. You just now got it.
Come
Oh
on, bro.
Oh
I'm
my
Mexican, mate.
Now I feel even more awkward. Okay. Anyway.
See,
No,
Jared's
one thing-
pretending to be innocent, but he's married now.
Hey, but we don't need to we don't need to talk about backdoor stuff anyway.
So one thing I really did like about the episode is, as very little of it was there in this the word salad.
Oh, you're
Everything
talking
with
about
Joel
your
and
fan
Ellie,
theory. Yeah.
yeah, everything with Joel and Ellie was absolutely great.
Oh, see, my favorite
We
part about
talked
the
about-
episode is that Ellie wasn't in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but we complained about Ellie in the first two episodes that she was a little bit too
Because
crass.
she's the worst. But
cussing.
go.
And she was annoying. In this episode, all of her dialogue I thought was less annoying, angsty
Yeah.
teenager and more
Yeah.
like innocent child making. She was still
But-
annoying, but she was
yeah.
asking annoying child questions.
Yeah.
But
And
for
I
me,
found that
it's
really
like,
I
yeah,
loved that.
And commenting on the
back and
like
forth between them
and
both.
the things that she was talking about are real like indications of
Yeah,
her having grown up in this world where
exactly.
flying is not a thing, seatbelts is not a thing.
Yeah,
The,
I
the
really
scene
loved
in the
all of
truck
that.
was awesome. Where
Yeah.
she's,
The
oh,
scene
it's
in
like
the
a
truck was
spaceship. I
great.
was like, oh yeah, she's never seen a truck.
The conversation while they're walking and they're asking about the pandemic, one is great dialogue, and it also confirms my fan theory that I brought up last week, that I think it's pretty much confirmed now. It was spread through flour, right?
Which
And
confirms
if
that
you-
spores
if you
are
actually-
right out. It was spread through food initially, and now the only way to get infected is through bites, which is silly. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
whatever.
if you go back to the second episode too, there was a line in there I missed that the initial person that they inspected came from a flour factory.
yes,
Yeah.
And that lady said, "Oh, that's a perfect substrate for incubation," and I completely missed that.
Yep, yep.
So it's
Yeah.
pretty much confirmed that it started in this flour factory. It was sent out to all the world and incubated there, and then it just blew up all around the world simultaneously. And I think that's perfectly fine. And if they said they don't really know exactly what caused it, but you could imagine in that post-apocalyptic world, they're like, hey, everybody that's eaten this flour dies, so just let's burn all of our flour reserves or something.
Well, it's the sort of thing where it's like, yeah, they don't know, because honestly, it hit so hard and so heavy that like
Right.
society crumbled all at the same time, or roughly at the same time. So you probably weren't in a position where you could start doing studies to figure it out very well.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
can
So
start
I
piecing together.
really like that, and I like the attention to detail in the very first episode where everybody's eating cookies and flour and
Yeah.
stuff, and they're offering them flour and
For
they're
Joel.
offering them biscuits, and Joel and Ellie are like, no,
She's the
I'm
one
actually
who
on
did the cookie.
Atkins, like I can't eat that.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
oh, I don't like those cookies because they've got raisins in them. I thought it was really great and subtle, and it
was
worked.
subtle,
I
yeah.
really like that.
Yeah.
So
A
I
lot of
like
people
that.
picked
I
up
like
on
the
that.
backstory. Talking about the start of the pandemic, I
yeah.
love the dialogue
it-
between Joel and Ellie. All
Yeah.
that was really fantastic.
It,
And
that is set up
Bill
well.
and Frank
I
could have
still think
worked
it's
if-
stupid that they took out spores.
Yeah,
But-
but
From understanding what they've looked at,
I think it would be a lot harder to.
Also, I just
Bill.
finished reading Brandon Sanderson's Secret Project 1, so I'm like all about spores right now.
You finised it already?
Oh, dude, it is a freaking
No, I haven't quite
banger.
finished it.
It
It's
is
so good.
so
I've heard
good.
people saying that it's the best since there's like his second best novel.
So I'm just
Really?
I'm
It's-
all about
it-
spores
yeah.
right now, baby.
It's a
Does
very
it get really
different
good
tone.
at the end?
huh?
Because I'm like where they're like going to the where they're going to the Crimson Sea. So I mean, does it get way better after that, or
It's a banger. It slaps.
It's it's really
I'm
good. It's a
excited.
completely different tone. It's very
I'm hoping my
very
box
much
edition
lighthearted
consumer.
and joking
Yeah.
throughout, because it's spoilers. It's wit telling it.
I was gonna say, yeah,
but it's-
that's been interesting. Yeah,
Yeah,
It's real good.
but it's really good. Just the concept alone with the fluidized bed of sand
Did
spores.
you guys see his
so good.
video that he posted with Mark Rober?
Yeah, with Mark
Yeah.
Rober.
That's
We
what
talked
he
about
does.
that last week.
Oh, did you? Yeah, I
it
haven't
was
caught up on that
brilliant.
because I still hadn't caught up on Vox Machina, so I stopped watching your guys' last week's stream up
Yeah.
till up at Vox Machina.
But- I had one more thing. Oh, I was gonna say I still can't get over the fact that the rating description for episode 2 was brief nudity, and then we got 10 minutes of a naked corpse. And
I was gonna say,
and that the rating description of this episode mentioned nothing sexual.
Yep.
Like that is lying.
yeah,
Well, didn't it say adult content or something like that? I think it
Yeah,
did.
it said adult content, but you're supposed to specify sexual content if
Yes.
it's
Yeah,
specifically sexual.
or drugs, or
and
They
of
didn't
course, it didn't
really
show
show
anything,
much
but it was
nudity.
still
It
on
was
screen
something
with
they did.
noises.
Like
Yeah.
that could almost be grounds for a lawsuit. Like it with
Mhm.
with the whole Anna de Armas in yesterday precedent that's been
but
set.
of course, the problem with that will be that they're going to be like, "Oh, it's because you don't want to see the gay." It's like, no, it's
No,
because
it's
any
but they
Roman-
straight and with combined with the fact that they admitted we had to trick
Because,
people into,
yeah.
into watching a gay romance.
I will
The fact
say
that they
that-
removed it from the rating as well,
Yeah.
that's insane.
I will say that 10 minutes with the nude corpse or whatever, only about 3 of it could you actually see anything.
It was
That
long.
was-
It was
it was
it,
easy, but
it was
yeah.
It was
there was
uncomfortably long.
there was a
just
lot
like the
of
sex scene.
nipple screen time.
I will also say though, I think that there is something to be argued about the separation of sexuality versus nudity, because that was a very much not sexualized nudity. Not that I
No,
wanted to see it, I
but
needed to see it. But I
That's
think
yeah. It was.
It didn't.
It shouldn't be sexual, Jared.
yeah, I agree. I
Okay,
agree.
okay, but it said brief nudity.
Nudity.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that's about all of The Last of Us that I can take.
That's
Yeah.
the last of it you can take.
Yeah. So, you
Yeah.
guys ready for some bad takes? Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's.
Screen Rants. Bad takes.
Okay, we've mentioned this before, but yeah, Last of Us Episode 3 is being review bombed.
Really?
It's not being review bombed. There are a lot of people that have very reasonable problems with this episode.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's okay if you liked it. This is not review bombing. Sorry.
It's also okay if you didn't like it. I liked it. You didn't like it. We're still cordial.
But you could understand how people who liked the first 2 episodes might not like the episode 3.
Because to your
Yeah.
guys' point, because it is that smaller, quieter story that doesn't really as directly affect our stuff. Yep, absolutely. Yep.
Well, but-
The other article that was very similar that I didn't include was it's taken 3 episodes for The Last of Us to get review bombed, just completely ignoring all of the context.
I don't know if this has been mentioned either, but one more thing too, I guess, that I did have about The Last of Us is I did like that they're showing that there's still a place for love in this sort of world.
See, that's where
You
I was
know,
at.
like-
That's why I felt like this was worthwhile. You know.
Yeah.
Because like that is important as a message. It's important to say, hey, even when something like this does happen, like you can still love each other and find love and peace and happiness.
But I mentioned
It
it
was the
before.
message that he
To
was
me,
giving to
that feels
Joel.
contradictory to the entire theme of The Last of Us, though.
Yeah.
But to
That's
me,
not-
that's also
you know,
adaptation. and
Jared,
expanding it
you've
beyond
played the
that.
game. That is not what the story is trying to say.
Oh, I
But to
know,
say
but
that it's there. I still think that that's a worthwhile message to add into the fact that
Yeah.
hey, this is a story about attachment being a problem, but it maybe
I don't think
it's
it fits
still
tonally.
worthwhile. Yeah.
well,
I mean-
I'm interested to see how they take it the rest of the season.
Yeah.
But I thought it
The
was a
love-
nice
Yeah.
sort of hey, like
This-
love can still work.
It
Based
was
on what they were
great
talking about at the end
until the end.
wrap up, you know. So sorry.
It
go
was
ahead.
it was a great message until the end. That's the
Yeah.
only problem that I had with the episode. The ending was really weird,
Yeah.
really freaky.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm sure you guys already talked
Now-
about it. I just wanted to
But now
say
we're
it.
done.
No, you're right. We didn't.
Now we're done with The Last of Us because there's more bad
That's
takes.
the last of it.
Disney, Screen Rant says Disney has already used Darth Vader more than Lucas.
Jeez.
And they don't realize that while being true is the problem.
This is just the
You-
most inane.
You know how like with like movie monsters, as it's like cliche, as soon as you see the monster, the movie's not scary anymore. Right? Like with Darth Vader, less is more.
Mm.
Mhm.
Yep.
But anyway, more with Disney. Disney parks are seeking to replace classic aerial meet and greets with the new live action version.
Mm.
Yeah, I think that
honestly, if they wanted to do both,
Sure.
that would be reasonable. But this is just stupid.
The one thing I will actually say on this one, because I don't really care about the recasting. Fine, make her black. Sure, it's whatever.
If
But
anything, you're going to do a race swap, do it with a mermaid.
fine.
But yeah,
I will also say
Eh.
one of the reasons that Enchanted with Giselle is not she's not a Disney princess, at least the official reasons, is because she showed up first in live action as Rachel McAdams. So if you're going to do something where you are basing something more off of the live action something than the animated something, then you need to start showing a little bit more respect to Enchanted and put
Giselle,
freaking
yeah.
Giselle in the park as a meet and greet.
What a weird hill to die on. Jesse.
Yeah, what?
That's a good point,
Yes,
though. It's a
like-
good point.
Yo,
Why do you care about the princess, bro? You also watched the whole scene, right? You heard the sounds. I had to fast forward that scene, bro. And you all watched it
For which of what scene?
at the Last of Us.
Oh,
The
I
gay
didn't hear the sounds.
loving.
Mark Clark said he didn't hear him either. I didn't hear sounds. Not any sucking.
There were sounds.
There
I had
were
to skip
sound
the rest
effects.
of it.
You're a
It was-
bunch of
Go back to
sinners.
verify. I'm fine without hearing.
There
that.
were sounds, and it was uncomfortably long.
I just know
It was
the
uncomfortable.
entire time I turned the volume way down, and I was just like, I really hope my wife doesn't walk down and watch me.
And we're back on Last of Us.
I would stop talking about
I
The
know,
Last
you
of Us,
promised.
guys. Okay. Is Titanic a great movie? Why it's so difficult to agree?
What? Who's disagreeing that it's not a great movie?
Not.
It's a little bit.
Where does this come from? Do they have to manufacture criticism now?
Yes, they
Oh,
do.
Have you been on this show, David? Hello.
Look. The argument is that apparently opinion on Titanic is very divided. I would
Oh
tend
my
to
gosh.
say that the box office disagrees with you on that
and
one.
the
Box office
Academia.
disagrees.
Yeah,
The
and
reviews,
this was-
the critics
and this was-
disagree.
And this
The
was
worst.
before the box office, the modern box office, which has been massively inflated. Right, this is almost as impressive as Gone with the Wind when you adjust
Yeah.
for inflation. Okay, but
Hey, wait, I just read this comment though. Titanic 2 does exist.
What?
I
Wait,
thought I
what
had heard
comment?
something about that.
Right, up a little bit more. Up a little bit more. Right there. Yes, Titanic 2 exists.
That looks like another bad article, but I don't want to read
It does. But I'm like, you know, I'd probably click on that. No,
It's probably as bad as the second part of Ripped.
What? I don't. What is Titanic
I
2
don't know.
about? It's
Look at the next subtitle. Titanic has no sequel, but the real story spawned loads of other movies.
oh wow.
Titanic 666.
Okay,
It-
okay.
it's- Yeah, it's not a sequel.
This is clickbait, guys.
Yeah.
And I wasn't
that's
going to
what I'm
click
saying.
it, and then you
I
guys told me to click it.
Is anybody else
I didn't
looking
say
at
click
picture
it, I
of the
said I
Titanic
would have
and
clicked
think
it.
it looks like it's got like eyes going.
Yeah, I saw
with
that.
Anyway.
eyes and- yeah.
The
Sorry.
point that they are trying to make is that separating Titanic's achievements from its quality complicates its legacy. And the point that I would say is look at the box office. It was pretty universally liked by people.
The only thing that I will say to that is another movie that people are debating the goodness, how good it is or whatever, is Avatar, which is the other one that's above it, the original Avatar. And people will criticize it as not being a great movie. But I think that I agree that in both cases, the box office tells us that that is not the case. It
Well,
is
now, and now they're
a
trying to say,
retroactive-
ignore the
Yeah.
box office, though, because its success made it harder to judge. How?
Yeah.
That was the judgment.
Yeah.
People don't go and spend tons of money on movies that they don't enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
But I do agree,
and,
that,
like,
honestly.
even I can say Avatar 2 is stupid, and I enjoyed the heck out of it, and that's why
Yeah.
it's making so much money.
Yeah,
Because it was
exactly.
a spectacle.
It's stupid,
Right.
but I enjoyed it. I liked it.
So I think that, by the way,
was
we're
not cheap,
agreeing
it's
that this is a stupid article. And it all comes down to, I think that if you want to look at it, yes, there is some backlashy type of like, oh, it's so popular, so we're going to hate on how maybe it's not perfect. And so, yeah, there's some criticism to be leveled at all three, Titanic, Avatar, and even Avatar: Way of Water. But if you look at Rotten Tomatoes as an example of the fact that 88% for Titanic, 82% for Avatar, 76% for Avatar: The Way of Water, they're loved and good movies. Like,
Yeah.
maybe not
The
everybody
only
loves them,
reason-
not everybody thinks they're great, but they're loved and they're great movies, successful and good because they've got good reviews on them, and the audience scores are also equally high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a
But-
End the article,
only
they end the
reason this
article
is
by
here-
arguing why it's a good movie.
The thing is that I know the kind of people that don't like Titanic is people, Gen Zs and some young millennials that watched the movie when they were I don't know 8 years old, and they were like, "This is such a boring movie."
Young,
So they
or
are they
into
don't
it
have
or whatever.
they are not attached to this movie or how good it is, even regarding that. So they don't just hate on it, even though they haven't watched it in like 10 years. I know this because I used to do it.
Well, like
Yeah.
even if you can't get behind like the romance in the movie, like there's so much else going on that like
Yeah.
it's a really good story.
I
But
think
the dynamic is problematic. I'm going to do that voice when I'm talking about a Wookiee. But the argument is that the dynamic between these guys is problematic between Leo and the other girl.
Yeah.
what it
The
really
only
is
reason-
it's always whenever something's successful, there will be backlash to people being like, well, it's not that good. And I think that there's at least an argument to be made for, is it overrated? Because if something is rated at a 10, but it's actually, you feel like it's a 9, you can still love it and feel like it's overrated because it's
Sure.
you're saying, oh, people rate this higher than I think it deserves. That's
Yeah, it's not a
overrated.
10.
You
Yeah.
said something
That doesn't
really
mean that it's
interesting.
bad, you know?
You said something really interesting. You said no matter if something is every time something is really successful, there's always going to be people who try and tear it down.
A lot of times,
And
yeah.
likewise, I would say every time there's something completely unsuccessful, as long as it carries the message, there will be people who try and insist that it was successful.
Yep.
The Last of Us episode 3.
I
Yeah,
mean,
this
probably was
article-
successful because a lot of Wokies watched it.
And now we're back talking about The Last of Us.
Hey,
Um,
whose fault was it this
Hey,
time?
and you brought it up.
I was gonna say the only reason that article exists right now, as opposed to when it came out, I think is because of the news that James Cameron is testing his theory about they both couldn't fit on the door. You guys hear about
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the only reason people are Googling it. And that's just going to pop up
it's
in the
that
search
and the
results.
fact
That's
that-
all it is.
that-
It's clicks.
It's that and the fact that James Cameron has a new movie out that's being successful, and
That's
he has
true,
to
yeah.
get that.
Yeah, so both Titanic and James Cameron are in the Google
Zeitgeist,
hot
yep.
list, and so they pumped out some articles saying nothing. It's just clickbait.
Because I can completely get behind saying like, hey, is it a little overrated? It was wildly successful, and is it good? Yes. Is it great? Maybe not, but it's at least good. Like, don't say, was it bad? Was it terrible? No, obviously not. Yeah. Anyway.
Rick and Morty's cancellation would be harsh, but the time and the message is right.
Yeah, the message is we should judge people before they're actually tried
Yeah.
and verified.
I think the
Guilty
only
guilty until proven innocent, guys.
Yeah.
well, I
And-
agree that's an issue, and I think that this is maybe a little bit premature in that. It does sound like this was not as soon as the allegations came out. It sounds like there has been investigation going on for a couple of years. Like the allegations came out a couple of years ago.
But this is 2 days ago.
Yeah, I'm saying that the
I'm saying-
allegations
yeah.
originally came out a couple of days ago, and so the
apparently
firing
it's now
wasn't
like
immediate.
it's going to trial or something. I don't know.
It's, it's the fact that it was
Guys,
at least worthy enough to go to
I
trial.
don't-
It wasn't just tossed out because.
But I don't care. We have a justice system,
Mhm.
and it needs to be used.
Yes.
I can get behind you on that. Yep, this is a big enough
It's
accusation. that I
because
can get
it's
behind it,
because
yeah.
Rick and Morty's narrative is about harsh realities. So just canceling it would be a harsh reality.
Harsh reality.
And it's on Rick and Morty has the responsibility to send a message to Hollywood.
Hollywood does need to get a message that it's not okay to do
You
terrible.
realize
things.
that Rick and Morty is part of Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
Though, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
No, but I can get behind that, saying, hey, Hollywood needs to stop thinking that they can get away with doing whatever they want. Like,
sure,
some of that
If-
message has been being sent, but
sure.
it's still a problem.
If the law says he's guilty,
Yeah,
I'm behind it 100%.
Yes.
Mhm.
Agreed.
But until then, screw you.
I do think that it would have been smarter to put things on hold until the verdict,
Nah.
because I can understand that because it's a trial.
No,
there's
no,
nothing going on.
I have problem. That's just as bad because you're still, if he comes out that he's innocent, you're still, halting people's entire lives. You're,
Yeah,
you're,
I see what
you're
you're saying, but
preventing
I-
people from obviously this doesn't apply as much in Hollywood, but if you have a guy who runs a business and someone accuses him of something bad, we got to put everything on pause. He's no longer allowed to provide for his family until he's proven innocent. That's the same problem.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from, but I just do think that like I can understand feeling like there's a lot of controversy around this right now. Until the verdict is found, we don't want to accidentally be, promoting it. I think that
Exactly.
probably the solution to that would be to come out and say, well, once it's found out that he was guilty, we say we absolutely think this was a terrible thing. That it turns out that he did this.
Which is
But
not
the
what
problem
they're
is they've shot themselves in the foot now. If it goes to trial and he's like, oh, he's innocent, this was completely,
They've already fired him.
They've already fired him. They've already said, hey, we're splitting ties with him. And if they were to reverse that decision and say, oh, by the way, he's back, there would be outrage because you've already gone through this. You've already prejudged him as guilty. He may be guilty, fine. But you've got to wait for the justice system to flush out.
I think they just wanted to get rid of him, and that's it.
Maybe.
Why? They're making money.
Is they? Are they?
That's a big indication, like if they were, because we know how greedy and how much they just want to make money and all they care about is making money. To me, it says that there's something else, like there's more involved here than us just seeing like, oh, they've just decided to give up on it. Because otherwise, they would try to keep making money. They would absolutely try to keep making money if they felt like they could.
100%.
Okay.
I don't know.
I think it's stupid.
I can't disagree with you there. I think that we do need to lean on the justice system a lot more than I think.
But this is
the court of public opinion has too much power at this point.
Exactly.
Yeah, and this is more stupid. Movie Web says The Lord of the Rings, why changes to Tolkien's lore are necessary for the Rings of Power.
Was it because of wokeness? Was it because there's too many white men?
I think it's because of this.
He'll be gone!
Stinger.
Do we want to read this?
Again, no. It's just more the same crap. Some things don't play well. Yada. The only leg they had to stand on is, of course, some condensing of the timeline has to be done if they're going to make it to a season. There you go. Condensing of the timeline. That's the only valid point. Everything else is done. Changed it too much.
For the medium, sure, but that's different than saying problematic.
Need to be careful.
Need to be careful. How about the
Too
need
white.
to make something that doesn't suck? I'm not. Yeah, I don't want to.
I wonder because just reading the very beginning of that first paragraph on that was saying, of that last section, saying like, oh, just because it said something, you can't run wild with the source material, but that's kind of what they did.
Yeah.
Well, major changes that are essential to making the story of the Second Age more coherent. That does not mean that the Rings of Power gets a free pass to just run wild with the source material. Amen. Preach. And it did suddenly go off the rails, and it totally messed with lore in so many ways. Even though it didn't kill Isildur or bringing Bilbo early, it brought so many things in way out of time.
Yeah. Dumb, but I can't wait for season 2, guys. I cannot wait to make more Rings of Power videos. Okay. Here we go. This is a good one. So we're in the crazy road to making everything inclusive and never offending anyone ever again. The left has released this helpful chart that will help you remove violent language from your vocabulary. So instead of saying we're going to pull the trigger on this project, you can say we are going to launch. And there's
like a rocket.
Mm-hmm.
Like an intercontinental ballistic missile.
What's funny is that these are all just idioms. Every single example here is just an idiom. Like, let's roll with the punches. Let's move forward. We can soften the blow. We can make it a little easier. But
I actually really love the let's kill two birds with one
Oh,
stone.
no, don't spoil it. Don't spoil it. That's the best one.
I know. That's what I was saying.
Instead of that'll kill two birds with one stone, it's that'll feed two birds with one scone.
I actually kind of like that, though. I actually really kind of like that. As dumb as it is to say,
that was the punchline, man.
You jumped past it. I thought you were looking at these.
I
ones
was trying to make sure no one read it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that one's pretty good. I might start using that as a joke. But yeah, being compelled to say those
It's-
other ones instead of
It's
the
fun. Yeah.
original.
Everyone is going to say, "What did you just say?"
I'm going to take a shot in the dark. I'm going to make a guess. Like, this isn't violent language. These are idioms.
Yeah.
I can't, like, and look,
Ugh.
we're, like, honestly, at this point, like, considering, like, Darwin's survival of the fittest, if you're the kind of person that will become unable to function if you hear someone say, "Did we just jump the gun?" You might not deserve to procreate. That's like, if I'm being honest, we don't
Yeah.
need that
Well,
seed to continue.
All that being said, as stupid as it is to say, like, we can't use this language anymore, I will even give a little bit of credit to, like, there is something positive to the power of using positive language instead of negative
Bro.
language when you can. But this is dumb. This is mostly dumb.
It says that's not a bad idea. That's a good idea. Wow.
Yeah,
That made me- that was
this
what
is
made me
yeah.
think this is
That's
like-
not a bad idea. Is violent language.
See, that's the only one where, like, that's the one that made me think, hey, there is something to changing your paradigm, changing your mindset to thinking positively instead of thinking negatively. I'll give that this is the most
But
credit.
that's
I will
not what
give
they're trying to do.
idea.
They're trying to say, if you say any of these things,
I
you're a bad
mean,
person.
I agree with you. I
They're
think
literally
it's dumb.
trying. This is literally controlling
Yeah.
speech.
I completely agree with your point, and that I think that what they are doing with it, what they're trying to do with this, is dumb and ridiculous. But
Yeah.
I'm going to take it the other way. So,
I think it's
you guys
evil.
and what you're trying to tell me. Yeah.
Policing speech is bad. So
Yep.
We got more bad takes though. This one's actually kind of surprising. Screen Rat says, "Why the Flash shouldn't be the starting point of James Gunn's DCU." And I read this one, and it's actually a good take, guys. Makes
Wow.
some good points. So in the chat, give me your Screen Rant's medal of honor.
You have your stinger for Screen Rant's good take.
Do I have that? Oh yeah. Here we go. Well, let's read it. We'll play it after. Play it after. Yeah, they actually make some good points. The DCU needs a clean slate. And using the old slate to sure. That makes sense. Ezra Miller has problems. We've talked about that. And there's
I love Ezra Miller.
and they're considering keeping him on. Using the extended universe to create the universe makes the new universe feel like a spin-off. Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
I think that's a bad thing.
Basically,
And this is probably the one I agree with the most, is that the new universe shouldn't have a multiverse connection from the get-go, which is
That's a good point too.
an amazing point.
Yep.
This is a good article. So, Joshua Fox,
of course, the guy.
congratulations. You are a rose among thorns, and you get the good stinger.
Screen Rants. Good takes?
Congratulations. It's a great take. Kind of late. We talked about. We should have brought this up a long time ago, but it wouldn't have fit. I wouldn't have been able to do the stingers, and we got some more bad takes. Did you guys? Most of these have to do with Mr. Beast. Now, did you guys? Watch the Mr. Beast video?
No, the blind.
Mr. Beast.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Beast this week.
Oh, curing 1,000
Cured
blind.
blindness. Paid medical
What?
bills for so there are different levels of blindness, and for there's some forms of it that can be fixed with like a 10-minute procedure. It just costs a lot of money. So he found people who fit that criteria and cured 1,000 people's blindness,
Wow.
Which
which is freaking
that's insane.
awesome.
A
Yeah.
ton of
Yeah.
friggin' money.
And yet some people are offended by it. Namely Hassan.
Oh no.
I gotta switch screens because this is the one that lets me share audio. Hassan finds it problematic me see if I can play this. You guys hear that?
Yep.
Okay.
I was gonna say, do they have problems because he didn't cure enough black people's blindness or marginalized people? It's like
No.
this is literally.
No, it's
It's
because
right here.
it's because capitalism bad. Here you go.
Oh,
You watch the video, you go, "Oh, how cute and how nice." I watched the video and I'm filled with rage.
What's wrong with you?
That we shut.
At least she says it,
Yep.
right?
okay. Yep. Exactly.
Yeah, the other streamer he's with,
How dare they didn't
Is-
cure everyone's blindness. They only cured 1,000 people.
Well, no. He goes on to explain. Well, the fact that capitalism has
He's-
created a situation where the only thing holding people back from blindness is money. It's just disgusting. Well, the reason that they're able to create the cure to blindness is because of the money.
Money that
Okay.
came, yeah.
But other people have, so he's not demonizing Mr. Beast,
Mr. Beast.
but
Good.
he was demonizing the culture that created the cure to blindness that he's complaining about.
Mm.
Okay,
So Big
but
Pharma. So
Yeah.
he's criticizing Big Pharma.
Shut
yeah,
off.
that's not allowed anymore, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, you know what the
There's
times
some
is on.
If they do.
But anyway, you can watch the whole thing if you want to, but I wouldn't.
Yeah, that's
But there
an
are people who have
incredibly bad
taken
thing.
it further, and they are criticizing Mr. Beast personally. Yeah, like Lolo. There is something so demonic about this. I can't even articulate what it is.
Somebody asking, what do you mean?
because he's doing it for views. Well, yeah, of
Because
course
he's doing it
for views.
Well,
Exactly.
yeah, but
They're-
that's the
they're-
reason
they're
he
saying
has the money to cure 1,000.
that's what they don't understand.
Exactly.
Everyone is criticizing. He's like, how if he was really altruistic, he would do it and not make a video out of it. Not understanding it's the exact same capitalism debate. The
Mhm.
only reason that Mr. Beast has the money to do these amazing things is because he makes videos about them. Okay.
Yeah.
He makes a Willy Wonka video and gets a bunch of money, and then he makes a video about curing blindness using all of the Willy Wonka money, and then he gets money back from that video so he can do another good thing. Okay,
Yeah.
Because Mr. Beast in particular is known for these like charitable things that he does, like
Yeah.
ridiculously so.
He just
there are
throws
constantly
money out of
more
people.
successful people.
he's
that make
constantly
even
throwing
more
money at
who are
people.
doing so much less than this.
At least once
I-
a month he does something good like that in
Yeah.
every year.
Yeah,
so-
he's always
Exactly,
like, hey, have $1,000
My
bucks.
wife in the chat there says there's lots of good things, lots of things that he could do for views. It's cool that he chooses to do this.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
could do lots of things with that money,
Mhm.
and he chooses to help other people.
Look at what Alan here has done for views. He's watched Rings of Power. That's an awful thing to do for views, but he
No,
did it for views. This guy
okay,
did
I
good for
would argue that is altruistic.
you
I
have done a service.
much like Jesus himself have laid my life on
Wow.
the coals,
Wow.
just for your benefit.
It's quite the sacrifice. He literally died
is.
for your sins.
I don't know if I can stand behind that one.
No, but Mr. Beast responded, Twitter, rich people should help others with their money. Because everyone was criticizing Elon Musk. They're like, oh, you spend all this money in Twitter when you could have just given it to poor people. He's like, okay, so I'm going to use my money to give to poor people. And he also committed, when I die, I will give all of my money away.
Mhm. Every
Twitter,
single time.
Mr. Beast
Wow.
is bad.
Seriously,
I
though,
mean, it's
like,
bad
like,
for
I like that first
communists.
comment. Is this your first day on Twitter?
Yeah,
yeah.
that's pretty insane.
But that's the set.
There's
The
our
mindset of a
friend, Master
communist.
the TDS from Gothic Therapy right
Yep.
there.
Yep.
It's insane. It's
Yeah.
absolutely insane. He wouldn't be able to do this if he wasn't making videos on it.
Oh, forget about that. He probably put a lot of the names of the beneficiaries, so and he can shout those beneficiaries up, so
I
maybe
also
someone
really
else will
remember
donate.
this, and I don't know the specifics of the kind of blindness and the kind of cure that's there, but like it's bringing awareness to it. So now if somebody else comes
Yeah.
across this, they know like, hey, this is a procedure that's possible,
And
yeah.
he didn't just cure blindness. He also like gave a bunch of stuff to the people he did it for. Like one of the guys is like, oh, I've always dreamed of driving a car, but I can't because I'm blind. And so he gave him a Tesla after he cured his blindness. Like
I
You-
freaking love Mr. Beast.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's cool.
this guy is. How on
Seriously.
the kind of mindset that you would have to be in to criticize Mr. Beast. I can understand not
Communist.
liking him, okay, but to criticize him for this,
Mhm.
you are messed up in the head, and you
Mhm.
need help. You need professional help.
He should have said something like outreach, I don't know, program for inner city black Latino. Yeah, I don't know, add more colors to the mix. And that's where the left will be saying like, oh, or trans girls or something like that. Oh, you're a hero, Mr. Beast, but because he's not part of the cult, he's not a hero for them. He's an enemy.
But
Here we go. If I ever get Mr. Beast money, do you know what I will do? I will buy the rights to the Lord of the Rings.
yeah.
I
That's
will.
what's good with it.
I will fix
No.
the Lord of the Rings.
No,
That
start
is
at
very
the cinematic universe for the Ryan Sanderson.
Or do that. Yeah.
It's already going.
Or
Brandon's
both.
got that.
You know what? I'll do both.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, Mr. Beast is stupidly rich.
But the other thing too is I don't know. I don't really watch a lot of Mr. like basically any of Mr. Beast stuff, but I would be really surprised if he's not like one of those creators that does a lot of positive things for the LGBTQ and the minorities and
Stuff like
I
this.
bet he does. But
Like
yeah.
half of them
Or
are like
everyone.
ridiculous things, like I did Squid Game in real life, or I did Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory in real life, and the other half is just giving away all of the money that he made from the other ridiculous ones.
making huge like trying to start campaigns for like taking care of like the oceans and the trees and stuff like that too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, he did that campaign with the team trees, planting a bunch of trees
Yeah,
and cleaning
he
up the
cleaned
ocean
an
and stuff.
entire beach. Jose.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like you're right, bro. Half of his videos are like, "Hey, I went to this restaurant and I tipped my waitress $1,000 or something like that." I think he's always just giving away his money left and right to brighten people's lives. And yeah, sure, he does it for the clicks, he does it for the views,
Because
but
he wouldn't
always
have the
turns
money to
back
give
and
away if
gives
he
it back to
didn't.
the community. Yeah,
But yeah,
exactly.
and then you look at like the Logan Pauls or the whoever else is those other kinds of like young YouTube or whatever Vine or whatever stars, and all they do is just the ridiculous stuff. That's
Right.
all they do. That's the only thing they do is the ridiculous stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah. Plus, to this point, like Mr. Beast, I don't think that he longer cares about views or
No.
Yeah.
engage. He's stupid rich. Just makes another video, like you said, some Squid Game part 2 or something like that, and he makes a lot of dope. So he doesn't really needs the views of these videos just to raise awareness. And I think we all were aware, made aware, something like that.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy what people are willing to do.
Attaboy.
But good job, Mr. Beast. You've cured freaking
People just
blindness.
want to be angry. Do
Much
they not
like
want positive
Jesus
stories out there?
himself.
Yeah.
All right. I may have to get off very soon.
Maybe he's the Antichrist.
Okay, we got some memes to liven the spirit up a little bit because the Babylon Bee says sad. YouTuber Mr. Beast spends millions curing blind people when he could have sent another tank to Ukraine, baby.
Make them rain, make them rain.
Here's another good one. Eric Swalwell found suavely approaching the sexy Chinese spy balloon.
Somebody said a comment about spy balloon, Chinese weather balloon for the bad articles. Mark Clark was talking about that earlier.
It's because he banged a Chinese spy while being a sitting member of Congress, and not just that, he was in the the position he. Let's not get political about it.
She was a known spy, by the way.
I
A
didn't
known
think
spy.
we were getting into the details.
Fung is it?
Yeah.
But that spy balloon was in the news. Okay, it's relevant. It's relevant.
Yep.
This one's real funny though. Did you guys see that that ice skater, the trans ice skater?
Yes.
Oh, this is
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Rookie trans woman picks the one sport where biological women actually have an advantage.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah, he was probably the worst in the world, but now because he's transgender, he can be at the Olympics or whatever. I don't know where he was.
No, this one's the reverse. Because now that they're there, they're not going to do as well because the women are going to do the biological women are going to do better.
Mhm.
This video was really, really funny. You should go watch it.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
And I got one more funny from Dave Landau on Twitter. And if you need some context, Bill Gates just did an interview where he apologized for his association with Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he
didn't know that.
had dinner on his island like 12 times.
I knew that. I didn't know he apologized for his.
He didn't so much apologize as he said, "Well, he's dead now, so what does it matter?" That actually came out of his mouth. But Dave Lana had a really good tweet about it. So Bill Gates regrets dining at Epstein Island 11 times, but he did love their kids' menu.
Oh no, no.
So let's talk about Vox Machina.
My gosh, I didn't actually watch it. So
I didn't get to watch it either. I had a super busy week.
Am I the only one who watched it?
You might have been the only one.
I watched it, bro. I got
Oh, there
all right.
you go.
the Inter gets him, bro.
Here we go. Let's talk about Vox Machina.
Hey, you can still hear me, right?
Do you guys have something to say?
I'll
I
say
look
that I've
forward
been
to
enjoying it so
watching it.
far. Yeah.
It's good.
Okay,
Caught
bye.
up about where you talked about last week. I maybe I will drop off just because maybe I'll go watch it now. Or actually, we're almost time to watch The Last of Us. So
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost time to
All
end
right.
the stream so people can go watch The Last of Us. Episode 4. Yeah, Vox Machina was real good. If you guys want to leave, you can. Thanks for joining us.
I think I will take off.
I am going to duck out.
You guys have anything to plug? David
guys
just released a
have-
video that's like 6 weeks old or late.
Yep, 6 weeks old. It's the longest video we've released to date. It's
I'm excited. I'm actually going to probably watch that first and then
sweet. Nice.
Oh yeah, I'm probably going to get sick again because all of my kids are throwing up. Don't have kids, guys. Just don't do it. They get you sick all the time.
Yep. That is something you
I
have
was
to suffer
literally,
through.
I was like, so Friday night, I planned a boys' night. Oh, I was having a night with the boys, okay, that I haven't done in like months. Like they've gotten together without me, and I've had to like say, sorry, I can't make it this time because I'm doing stuff. And so I was planning a boys' night, and I spent all day smoking some steaks. If you've never had a smoked steak, to take like the best steak you've ever had at a restaurant and throw it in the freaking garbage, okay? Because I can in my house make something 10 times as delicious with no skill whatsoever. You take a steak, you smoke it for like 4 or 5 hours on the lowest heat possible until it reaches the internal temperature of like a medium rare steak or a rare steak. Then you take it off, you turn up your skillet, throw down some oil, and you just kiss it. You just kiss it on both sides to just give it a little crust. Oh, frick, it was so good. I had the best steaks of my life. And some T-bone. So I made steaks for all of my friends. We planned a boys' night, and I get a call. Your son is throwing up in school, and I'm like, frick. So I take him in the car. I pick him up in the car, drop him off at home, and send him into the basement to play games on the Switch. And I don't even touch him because I am not going to ruin the steaks I've been smoking for 5 hours and miss my one game night.
Nice.
But I'm starting to feel it now.
Yeah. Yeah, we've had sickness go around in our family too. My wife was sick for several days, and then kids started to get it. I haven't gotten it yet, but
anyway,
all right.
Smoked steaks are good. Also, I bought a cow. That was fun.
They are.
But if you guys tune out, you're gonna miss our wonderful outro video. I made a new outro video. So
Oh no, I'll have to watch it.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good
on the rerun.
Okay, but thanks for tuning in. Anything else to plug?
Yep.
Jared, that back door. Never mind.
Yeah. No, nothing. Yeah. No.
Okay.
I'll be go. Never mind.
Bye.
Thanks for coming. I love you guys. I love talking about stuff.
Bye.
Vox Machina episodes 7, 8, 9. Wait. 1, 2, 3.
9, 10, 12.
7, 8, 9. Yeah, we're on 7, 8, 9. It's good. I liked it.
Yeah.
It was
The
fun.
only thing I would say is that the last episode of those three felt like a filler a little bit. I didn't feel like that
Mhm.
much connected to the whole Scanlan and well
Yeah.
the gore the gore gror that was
Grog.
grog.
Grog. Well, it was kind of cool because like it felt like well they split up into two groups and so they like each team got their own like focus episode. Um, except that in the one episode they kept flashing back to the other group. So like and then in the third episode it was just Grog and them. So it was a little weird.
Mhm.
Like it felt like it made more sense if there was just one episode is this group and the other episode is the other group. But um, it was pretty good.
Yeah, no, it keeps
Um,
continuing
the
to be good. Yeah, the whole thing about the drugs and the forest was, that.
yeah, it was a little silly.
Mhm.
It was fun, and that's the thing with the show. Like it's okay. It doesn't always take itself super seriously because which is kind of neat because it is a reflection of the source material of hey, this is just a bunch of friends having fun, and that definitely happens in D&D campaigns. And I think it's adapted pretty well in that, like, yeah, we keep some of the lightheartedness, but we also are trying to tell a story. But there are nods to the ridiculous antics. That's kind of what got them famous. Is like just the stupid things that they did got clipped and put onto YouTube, and people are like, "Oh, what these people are funny," and then they're drawn to the actual
Mm.
story, the D&D stuff. But
No,
like
I didn't know
that's
that.
how I heard about them was people clipping just the stupid jokes that they were telling that weren't even like part of the game, like but it's fun. It's really cool.
Yeah,
I
it
thought that
was. I never. I did enjoy them. It's not like I didn't enjoy them. It was just like the first two episodes were like great, and then the third one was a little bit
Mhm.
slow. But the whole thing with Grog, was really good.
yeah, and
At least,
it's obviously gonna link back to the whole like, oh, where does your power come from? Which is gonna be some kind of reveal after he fights
yeah.
his
Although I find it really difficult because I have no idea how is he going to beat him. I mean, unless he gets like a power of
yeah,
knowing where
something's
my
gonna
power
intervene.
comes
He's gonna get
from.
his muscles back or so. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's cool. I liked the oh they got Henry Winkler just to play Pike's like great grandfather or whatever.
Mm,
I love Henry Winkler. He's hilarious. He's he's in a bunch of stuff.
yeah, that was a great episode too because it was really, like father figures. It was all about the father
Yeah,
figure. I mean, the contrast with the Bex and Bax one, and the other that had a decently positive. When the Henry Winkle character. I don't remember the name of the grandfather,
yeah. I don't
but
remember his name. I was like that was the first one. I was like, oh, I know who that is in real life. He's great in Arrested
yeah.
Development.
Oh, who is the in Arrested
He's
Development?
the lawyer.
Oh, he's awesome. Barry. Yeah, yeah. I just watched through the whole Arrested Development, background music, basically.
Good. That's
It's
such a
good.
good show. I wouldn't do that in the background because there are so many visual gags that you need to catch on to.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like
No,
there's also probably one of the most rewatchable shows of all time because you will rewatch it. You're like, oh, I totally missed this, and like they're constantly like referencing things that'll happen later. Like there's so much foreshadowing.
yeah,
That show's great.
I was planning on watching it again just to, I
It's
always
good.
do that. I sometimes face space off, and
Mhm.
I rather watch it twice so I do not miss
It-
anything.
especially season 4, which a lot of people didn't like because it changed drastically. It's better on a rewatch because of the
Mm.
way of it's structured. Like you get different pieces of the story, and then afterwards, like it fits together really well. I really liked season 4, but I understand how some people didn't like it. But it's better on a rewatch.
Yeah, the only thing I didn't like it is, the constant reminder of everything. I'm like, bro, I know what's happening. I can, but I understand that in the past when well, I don't know. Never mind, that was on Netflix already. You could binge it. So I don't understand why the narrator had to repeat. And remember when and remember when
Yeah.
this happened? And he's like, okay, I understand, bro. Like,
Yeah, some of the there are a lot of really subtle jokes that I maybe if English is your second language, it might be hard to pick up on. So I think that might be the problem because a lot of the narration jokes are actually really clever the way that
yeah,
they're weaved
and
in,
the issue
but
is
it's
that
pretty dense.
I don't have the English subtitles until like season
Mm,
5 when completely remade the whole show.
yeah.
I mean, season 4 still has Spanish subtitles, and I cannot get rid of it. I cannot even get
Oh
rid of
wow,
it, bro. Yeah, I hate it.
that's frustrating. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
that
subtitles are gonna
Latin
help.
America.
Oh,
Yeah, this is stuff.
sorry. Yeah, hi Kathy. That's an old co-worker who's awesome. Thanks for tuning in to my live stream because this is my job now. Yeah, Arrested Development's great, and yeah, Vox Machina. It's been fun.
Yeah, I don't
I
want it to end.
I really like Grog's backstory too. I like a redemption arc.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, oh, he's going to kill an old man, and then he's like, no,
It was good.
I'm not going to cross that line. Yeah, great. Like I said, the whole Grog thing was great. Um, Pike was a little bit out of place, and they tried to do something with Scatland, but he.
Mhm.
I think he's. They're not trying that hard. Oh, the other thing I wanted to say is that Percy is so useless.
He does
but,
kind of just get thrown around
but
now.
come
Now
on,
that he lost all his interesting powers.
yeah, his demonic powers. He's like, bro, build a new weapon, man.
I know you have Kaylee's character like turning into a fire god and burning through, and he's just he's got I got guns, guy.
and
And every time they show him use them, it's like, well, that
Vexalia
didn't
just
do anything.
got a bow out of nowhere. Literally,
Yeah,
they gave it for free. Oh, that's a fee. That's a freebie, like they say.
yeah, he needs a power up desperately. You're
Yeah,
right
come on.
because he
And
was
now
way cool.
they,
He was
yeah,
way cool in season one.
he was the main character in season 1. Well, for like 4 episodes or 6. Um, but yeah, come on. They even made him like Vexalia's love interest because he has nothing else to do. He's going to be the damsel in distress. I hope they don't. I hope they give him a power up
Yeah,
or
well, he
something.
needs a new like arc for his character too, which because like it was pretty much completed in season one.
Yeah.
No, he needs something for sure.
Mm-hmm. But it's like it's not nothing like season 1 that they showed us like as super smart.
Mhm.
Like this one is like, come on, he read the entire book about this place, and suddenly he's
Yeah, that's the problem. Like he might not even need like a rework if they just let him be like the group leader, right? But and
Mhm.
and that episode did kind of like undermine that, like all of the all of the things he's trying, or he's kind of coming off as like a bumbling idiot.
Yeah, and it's funny
You're right.
because it at the end they try to do like you said that he's going to be the leader of the gang,
Yeah,
but he only does one thing that was like leadership skills. Like he was like, oh, do this, do that, and he's like, come on,
yeah.
don't you think Bax already had that idea? I don't know. It was just like it felt like they are punching down on him uh,
Yeah, it
on
even happened when he
purpose.
like presented himself as nobility to Kaylee's dad, and he punches down on him too. Like, oh, I don't give a crap about you. I'm like, well, I mean, he's noble. You can at least show like a little bit of respect.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, he
they're
kind of feels like
just
a punching bag. You're right.
and that feels on purpose, and hate it because I really like Percival from this first season, and yeah, he probably already did his whole arc, and now they are using him in like a punching bag slash comedic relief, or although he's more cringe than comedic.
Yeah.
But yeah, sucks. That's the only
Hopefully,
thing that I didn't like. about.
Hopefully they do something with him in the future. But yeah,
I mean, he's going to get a gun. That is one of the who has,
the vestiges. He
the
needs a gun
messages.
vestige.
Yeah, or something like that. Like I don't know. He's useless. Like he cannot fence or do anything else. Yeah, a new, sniper.
Yeah. I'm really enjoying the show. Yeah, I'm sad it's ending, but
Mhm.
I mean, there's gonna be two other yeah. I'm just happy for these guys. It's awesome
Yeah.
to see success stories like this and Brandon Sanderson who and who basically did it all on their own too. Like outside of Hollywood, built it up by themselves and are finally just getting recognition and rewarded for all of their hard work.
Yeah. I
And not,
mean,
not
like
that they weren't like relevant before, like
Mhm.
yeah, but it's just cool to see that success from people who deserve
Yeah.
it.
Is a good thing about getting viral and social media and those sort kind of things. The people, a small percentage of those people really deserve it, and they go viral because they do good stuff, because they love what they're doing, and they do great stuff. Um, but yeah, I think Hollywood is losing their grip. Hollywood is losing their power, definitely, and I hope for the future that perhaps everything goes right or everything goes really wrong for them, that we get a world where independent media and people's real creativity is what makes you watch
Yeah,
something.
yeah. The real question is Hollywood redeemable? Like, can you see? And I don't think it is. I don't see a world where they
Mhm.
do a 180 and fix all of their problems. I think that there are individuals involved in Hollywood who, if enough of them leave and just become independent, then that will become the
Mhm.
new Hollywood, the
Yeah.
new replacement, because there's just so many trenches ingrained in Hollywood right now that I don't see them changing ever.
Yeah, like
And
Hollywood is
they're
completely.
suffering. They're not making the money.
Mhm.
They are scared. And the answer is so obvious. It's not hard. Make a Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah, but
They
like
don't want to. They don't want to.
your friend said, Hollywood is completely out of touch with 90% of the possible audience.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And you said they don't want to make a a Top Gun Maverick. They want to make Babylon. They want to make these Women Speak, or what's the name of that movie?
She said,
No, there's another one that is just called Women Speak.
women speak?
Yeah, look, or I don't know if Women Speak or Women Talk or something like that.
Women speaking?
Well, yeah,
Oh, it's called Women Talking. What is this?
talking.
This is a movie?
Yeah, and
What
it's
in the
it's I think it's
world?
even doing worse than than she said. I mean, because it had better, budget. I mean, yeah, and the trailer does not look enticing at all. Like, trust me, it's literally what they say. Just a group of different, diverse women
It's
talking.
called Women Talking. Look, but the story doesn't even sound that bad. Look, the synopsis is women of an isolated religious colony reveal the shocking secret. Like there's a good story behind that, and you call it Women Talking. Like, you're shooting yourself in the foot there.
Yeah,
Like what?
I mean, sounds a little bit, self-absorbed. Like,
Yeah.
why isn't it called the scandal of this colony that probably were, I don't know.
Whew, yeah, Hollywood's messed up. I don't think they're ever going to change. There's a clear path to success that they just ignore. And yeah, independent media. I think there are enough alternatives now, and then people are finally seeing. I think more and more creatives are gonna start leaving Hollywood and finding alternative venues and just making stuff that's good now.
But
So
yeah,
it's like depressing, but also like we can see a little bit of a silver lining now.
yeah.
There's a lot of there's Brandon Sanderson. There's the comics and uh, I'm completely forgetting the Rippaverse and Shad Brooks's comic book adaptations and the stuff that he wants to
Yeah.
do. Like,
And I hope that in a year or two, thanks to as well Critical doing his movie or what it's his short film, if that changes the amount of money, because that's most
Mhm.
important, because Hollywood, the reason why they are so powerful is because they control the budget, the big
Yep.
budget, the 300 mil, the 200. It's insane how much difference, because you can make a great movie with $8 million.
Yeah,
It's going to look as good
that
as
kind of
most movies, but
that
you know,
kind of goes back to like the problems we were talking about with DC launching their universe. They are trying to compare because they started late, right? They started trying to it rushed to piece together a cinematic universe after Marvel had already made Avengers successful, and they jumped the gun and started with Batman versus Superman with 3 superheroes already in it without taking the time to establish right the characters before bringing them together. And so they were immediately comparing their first attempt to Marvel's like 10th attempt.
mhm.
And we forget that the first movies didn't make a whole lot of money at first. Like we're talking like Iron Man, Captain America they were pretty good, but they weren't making $1 billion at the box
Yeah,
office. It
to
wasn't
this
until
day, if,
I don't
like,
even think Avengers made $1 billion. The first one, I think Avengers 2 made $1 billion for the first
yeah,
time. I think
Avengers
Avengers
first,
was like
it's like
900,000 or
exactly.
something like that. And so
Mhm.
and so like the first couple of movies, like even Thor, the first Thor was kind of a misstep.
The
And
second one as well.
the Hulk movie too. Like not all of them were good, but they started building up over time. But DC was comparing
Yeah,
like their comparing their first steps into their cinematic universe to Marvel already to Marvel's tent poles.
yeah,
And so they kind of got scared and were reactionary and just kept changing tone and directors and reshoots and um but they're forgetting the point. Sorry, the point of this whole diversion would be that you don't need a whole lot of money to make a good movie,
yeah.
and maybe
And
just start with that, and then build up to the big things. Like
yeah,
the cameras now just like had a huge drop in price. Like the average person can get access to really good cameras right now.
yeah, especially used ones, because a lot of people are trying to sell their cinematography equipment and things like that.
But now is the time for people to step up because Hollywood is scared. They are losing tons of money, and because they've invested in these huge projects that no one cares about or wants or even asked for. So,
I
really
mean,
hoping to see
Hollywood
some
is
good
going
stuff.
to keep going to be Hollywood for a while, until probably I don't know, a civil disagreement or something like that. I don't know if I can say war, due to
a, a civil disagreement. Well, we'll have to see.
yeah.
But thanks for coming on, talking about this stuff. I love talking to you, even though you're a
Pleasure
sinner,
always.
a dirty, dirty sinner.
I am a sinner.
This has been great. You have anything else to plug other than your awesome channel?
Well, no, I'm going to be trying to make like the finale for Vilma. I hope that finally it's over, because I almost give up from with the last batch of episodes.
Yeah, how did it
Uh,
end?
it hasn't. I apparently hasn't ended. Like I don't know. In Wikipedia it says 6 episodes. In Metascore it says 10. So I have no idea. but I hope it's going to end this week because I don't want to watch more of that.
It's just the show is just baffling to me. But,
Yeah,
we'll see you guys next week with the ending of Vox Machina and halfway through. Well, not quite.
kinda.
The last
Yeah,
one. And we need a new thing to talk about after The Last of Us ends. So send us your
and Vox
suggestions.
Machina. I mean, we talk about bees, man.
No, I'm not gonna watch that show.
No, don't do it. Don't do it. It's,
All right. Well, we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for tuning
See
in,
you.
and please enjoy my brand new outro video. It's a little bit. It's great. Like.
And now it is time to say goodbye.
We had a great conversation.
It's been fun. But all good things must come to an end, and the goodest ending I can think of is
Right now, this moment, this night.
So I guess we just say goodbye.
So, goodbye.
Toodaloo. Au revoir. Auf Wiedersehen. Ciao. Ding dao day. But come back next week for more outrageous bloopers.
This is the end.
Well, there's only one thing left to do.
I'm gonna go home and sleep with my wife.